And I was like, drinking Baja Blast, and I was like, it just hit me. I was like, I like this. I actually like this teal color. And then I'm like, the buggy's supercharged. It's a blast, so let's just call it Baja Blast. And then that's kind of where it snowballed down from.
So anyway, I started Baja blasting.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast, the Dirt Drive Podcast. This week, we're semi-spinning the wheel of Dirt Nerd. We're in kind of a home location. We're at my dad's house in Leesburg with PJ and Mr. Baja Blast, Tommy.
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Tell us about yourself, Tommy. I don't really know you other than what I've heard from. Yeah. I don't really know you other than what we've heard from Abe and your trailer tire blowout, and then what I've heard from PJ.
Yeah.
I don't even remember the first time I really met you was probably down in Fredericksburg at that Genrite night.
Was that there?
That was the first time I actually met you in person.
Oh shit! Yeah, I don't remember that.
Outside of that, we've always just been Instagram, Facebook, Jeep friends.
Yeah, because that's when I had the 2014 JKU.
You meet a lot. You have a lot of online friends that you meet in person, and you become good friends with them. It's wild.
And that's just how the internet works, though. You just make friends. Like, hey, this guy's got a cool Jeep, or he's got a cool Toyota, or whatever it is. And he's like, hey, and then it's like
he's pretty close. Let's go hang out.
Yeah. But shoot, about me, I guess. So now I guess I'm known for like twin stick crawlers, which is, I guess you could say, my off-road brand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I also do YouTube channel, which 300 followers, whatever.
Hell yeah, brother. It's more than we got. We got 184.
Well, to me, twin stick crawlers is more of a brand before it's a channel.
Yeah.
So I've been doing just filming raw cuts of my wheeling footage, and I have some shop stuff, but I mad respect to everybody that does YouTube, because you always put the camera here, you get all your shots.
So hard.
Yeah.
You're going to have 5 different cameras.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And then my editing skills are not that great either.
Dude, editing's even harder than getting a shot. That's one reason everyone's always, for us, I'm like, do you guys do video with your podcast? I'm like, no. It's so much work.
Yeah.
Between social media, editing the actual
separate
audio. Entity. I couldn't imagine editing actual video on top of it and maintaining a 40-hour week day job.
Yeah, I know. I work full time too, so it's...
Yep.
So you said in the shop, do you work at a shop? What do you do for a living?
So what I do for a living is I actually work for the airport.
Okay.
So I'm an electrician by trade.
Oh, shit, okay.
But I'm also an ex-auto mechanic, so I got my start out working at a Jeep dealership, then a Ford dealership, and then just, out of the blue, just randomly, one of those things when I was younger, looking for a job, started out in electrical trade, doing electrical construction. So
there you go.
I've always worked with my hands. It's Now I actually enjoy working on my own stuff,
Yep.
Because before, when you do it, PJ, you do it for a living. When it's time to work on your own stuff, you're like, I just want to go home.
You don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't work on shit for a living anymore. I've got a lame desk job, but I love getting home and be able to work on my car now.
Yeah.
Actually, my next projects, I've got the cylinder head bolts, so I got to put my LS together. I got to get the long block together. And I'm so excited for that. When I was turning wrenches, dude, I hated working on my stuff. I didn't hate it, but it was the
time constraint.
I've been working on shit all day. I've been gross all day. Yeah. I want to go home, take a shower, and be comfortable and sit on the couch and not think about what size socket do I need for this bolt.
Yeah, let alone be smelling like diff fluid all day.
Oh, I love that smell.
Really?
I love the smell of diff fluid.
Of course you do.
You must be the only one.
Only diffs.
So do you have a shop at the house where you work on your stuff?
No. Technically right now, so my trailer's stored out at my girlfriend's family's farm. I used to actually always be at Hadley's house, which I'm pretty sure he's happy that I'm not still stored at his house, because I felt bad too, because he's got projects to work on, and it's like, hey, I blew up my front differential this weekend. Can I borrow your shop?
Yeah.
It's like, eventually I'd like to build something and have have all the tools and welders and stuff, because eventually, I don't know, as much as Hadley helped me out build my chassis, I would love to build another chassis.
Oh yeah.
So you built your chassis from scratch?
With Hadley, yes.
It was a YJ?
So I originally had a 92 YJ, which I don't know if you could say it was pristine or not, but I've, we had to replace the floor pans.
No YJs.
Better than most YJs in this area.
Yeah. But we ended up decided, like, I had all the moto-built parts to 4-link it and put coilovers on it and all that stuff and the back half kit, and took over to Hadley's, and me and him were just talking, and at that time I was looking a lot about moon buggies and like the comp crawlers, and I just looked at it and I was like, can we just build like a buggy, like a tube chassis?
So who upsold who? Did you upsell yourself? Or
I kind of did upsell myself, because he just looked at me and goes, well, now's the time, go buy the tube. So it ended up just me like selling off all the moto built parts.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Because you were like, I'm going to do all this stuff to the YJ. And then like 2 weeks later, it was like all this stuff on Facebook Marketplace, like wheels, tires, all this other extra stuff. I was like,
Stuff you probably just bought.
Yeah.
okay. Then you cut your grill. I was like, shit.
Yeah.
Because you were also 5-slot.
Yeah, that's kind of where my 5-slot hooligan on my personal Instagram came from. So
did you have any experience cutting, notching, bending tube at all before this?
I learned it all through Hadley.
Dude, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's a skill that I want to learn, and I think we want to learn at the shop is cutting, notching, and bending tube.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to do with that, and it's such a niche skill, it seems like.
Yeah.
If Hadley and Lamb Chop started a school.
Oh, and they get Nate involved?
Oh, yeah. Abe, Lamb Chop, Hadley, and Nate, that would be a school worth going to.
Oh, absolutely.
Nothing would get done.
That's a competitive Ultra 4 card the first year.
I would crank up some student loan debt on that.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So where did you get your start wheeling or in the motorsporting, if you will?
Well,
Jeeping.
Because a lot of the wheeler guys that I've met and come to know didn't get their motorsports background from Jeeps and off-road stuff. You may have, I don't know.
Well, more or less for me, it was kind of like getting ready to, you graduate high school. My SAT scores weren't that great. You're an electrician, I get it. Yeah. Yeah. All the jokes.
You don't want to go to a 4-year school and, have all the student debt that you can't pay off?
Well, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life.
Yeah.
I was one of
Neither
those
did I.
kids. And like my neighbor across the street was going to like UTI NASCAR school or something down in Florida.
Dude, I thought about that for so long. UTI NASCAR, UTI Monster Jam.
Yeah.
Dude, I did all of the research. I wanted to do that so badly, but I'm like, I can't justify this, and then I would have no home life because you travel so much.
Yeah. But like at that time, what I graduated in 2003. Yeah, I'm old. But so the weekends and the summers and Saturdays, I was just like every other kid watching Truckin' You and Extreme 4x4 Jesse Combs and all that, and they had all the commercials for Wyotech, and I'm like, man, I want to go to Wyotech. Like, I want to learn. Like, that'd be cool to build a hot rod or something, and ended up just, that never happened either, obviously. But I ended up just getting a job at like changing oil and doing tires at a Goodyear at the age of 18.
Yep.
And it kind of just trickled that way.
Were you
from there.
local to Northern Virginia?
Yeah. Okay. I've been here since '89.
Okay.
So cool. I've been living in the area for a while. But yeah, I did, Goodyear, and then worked at a Ford dealer, and then went to a Jeep dealer, and I loved it, working on cars and stuff like that. So I guess my first was a 2-door Ford Explorer Sport.
Hell yeah! All right, Post Malone.
Yeah, it was 2001, and I don't know. I guess from watching those off-road shows, 3-inch body lift, 2-inch suspension, 33-inch tires, like. Back then, 33s were big.
It was like 33s were huge.
Yeah, it was like you roll around, everybody just stare. And like I remember one time I had a sticker on the back window. It said Hummer Recovery Unit.
At least you didn't do the zombie protection squad.
No, I never. Yeah, no, I had this guy with the Hummer pull up behind me, and he was like, "What? You don't like Hummers?" I was like, No, Hummers are cool. I just thought the sticker was funny." He was like, "Well, I could go anywhere you can with that thing," and I'm like, "Okay."
Except for any trail anywhere because they're so narrow.
Yeah.
Or they're so wide.
But yeah, this was when I was poor and didn't know what lockers were. And so like our off-roading were like the illegal spots of power lines and yeah.
You probably wheeled the exact same illegal spots or less than legal spots that I wheeled in. Where are you from? Where in the area are you from? Like, did you grow up in Northern Virginia?
So Herndon, Virginia.
okay.
Yeah. So like our spots
So
were
like AOL and the power lines and all that stuff?
Yeah. Behind Chantilly Auto Park.
Okay, we never went down there.
Yeah. That was one spot. Like you go behind the UPS or whatever. And
Okay.
what's that creek over here? Goose Creek Pond?
Yep.
Yeah. There's like a spot that was over there.
Yep.
Oh, by the reservoir?
Yeah. The reservoir.
I got called because I was always afraid. I had a CJ7 growing up. My dad's first car was a CJ7. Then he gave it to me when I was in high school. And everyone knew me as the Jeep guy. I had 33s, 8 inches of lift. It looked ridiculous. Actually, it looked really good. I miss that Jeep. But everyone would always call me like, hey, I was wheeling at the power lines and I'm stuck. Can you come get me? I'm like not to be a dick, but you're already stuck. Someone who already knows you there. I'm not going to get a ticket for you.
You were Matt's off-road recovery before Matt's
I
off-road.
was. I went out. So there was one time I had my neighbor walk up to me when we lived in Ashburn, and I had my Cherokee with the winch on the front, and it's set up just like it is now. And she's like, hey, Jack was wheeling on the power lines, and he's stuck. He hasn't called anybody but me. Can you go get him, please? So that was the one time I ever did a recovery out in Northern Virginia, and it was on those power lines by the reservoir
Before the cops show up.
before the cops show up. Yep.
Yeah. So then after that Explorer, then I got into Subarus.
Hell yeah.
God.
So I had like I had the WRX with the, this is way before vaping was cool too. So
That's a good one.
yeah. But yeah, and then did all the Subaru meets and the car meets and, got into lowering cars. And then, of course, you're in a car for so long, you're like, I miss being up in the air. So
Yeah.
then I got a Chevy Colorado.
There's ebbs and flows when you're, an auto guy.
Yeah.
Did you do any tuning on the Subaru, or was it just slam it to the ground and camber it out?
So, no, I had an inch and a half lowering Megan racing springs on the stock coils or the stock struts.
Okay.
Some roto wheels, the wider tires in the
Were
back.
they bronze?
Actually, they were almost bronze. But I did a front mount intercooler. And I think it took P tuning. I had it tuned at P tuning. They did 250 to the wheels,
It's not bad.
which the guy there told me is like for like a stock turbo. That was the most horsepower they ever got out of one. But I enjoyed it. I like.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing is it's all motorsports. Is like like you said, you started with the Ford, and then you went to the Subaru, and then after the Subaru was that the Jeep. Oh no, you said the
Colorado.
The Colorado,
Yeah.
which are sweet. I
Unless you
love
had
the
a
Colorado.
I did have a Colorado, but this was like
The first gen.
a 2004.
Yeah, so the first gen Colorado.
Yeah, it was a first gen, and it was one of the ones that had the random misfire engine code that means you needed a cylinder head.
Was it the 5-cylinder?
Yes.
Hell yeah, that piece of shit.
Yes. And again, that one on.
What a bastard of an engine.
Yes.
Chevy's like, it's a pretty cool little truck, but we're gonna make it garbage with a 5-cylinder.
Yeah. It sounded good with the Flowmaster on it,
Salt Bay
though.
with engine problems.
But again, that one was on a 3-inch body lift and a 2-inch suspension lift and 33s.
So I wanted the first gen for a while because they made a very select few that had the 5.3 in them.
Yeah.
It was either the 5.3 or the 4.8, but you could get it with the LS based engine in the first gen Colorado. And I found a few. They were so expensive and they were so hard to find.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because I went down that rabbit hole too. If you get on the internet forums and you look at dude, I was looking at the Colorados that were 2-wheel drive and dudes were putting V8s in and making them drift trucks, and I go, why wasn't mine 2-wheel drive?
Yeah.
dude, the 2-wheel drive drift truck thing is crazy. Over at Classic Motor Machine, where my old CJ lives, when I was dropping off my cylinder heads to get them done for the Camaro, I was talking to the kid that was working the front desk, and he's got a 2-wheel drive XJ that he's making a 5-liter, an inline 6 5-liter. And I'm like, how the hell are you doing that? And he was talking about how it's going to be like 400 horsepower, 5 liters, inline 6. It's a 4-tube block with a 4.7 crank, custom cam, overboard.
Jesus.
And I'm like, that is the fucking coolest thing I will ever see. And it's going to be a straight line car. He's gonna drag race.
I just wanna know what it
5-liter
sounds like.
6-cylinder XJ.
Yeah, they make those stroker kits for a 5.0.
Well, yeah.
Well, they make them for the 4.7s,
Yeah.
not for the 5.0.
Well, no, it's the 4.0. You can make it a 5.0 as a stroker kit. I've seen those.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, but it's like you're overboring the cylinder heads to where like the walls are
Yeah.
so thin. I'd be afraid.
That's why he's using the 4.2 block, because it's a little bit bigger.
Okay.
A little bit more surface area.
I'm like, that's a lot of engineering, but he also works at the best machine shop in Northern Virginia.
It blows my mind the limits that engineering can go with engine builds.
Well, it's also redneck engineering because
yeah,
that's the best engineering.
So to go back to that two-wheel drive before I actually really get into what my original build was on my 4.0, I found a guy in France with a lowered two-wheel drive XJ with a supercharger on it drifting.
Oh, hell yeah.
He's I can't remember the
all
guy's
places.
Instagram. I can't remember the guy's.
So cool.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's Instagram handle, but through my devolve of trying to research how to make a supercharger work at the time on a 4.0,
Yeah.
I came across this guy on like the internet, boosted 4.0s on Facebook, and like he's on there, and like he's got like it's like white with like purple, and then there's pictures and videos of him drifting it sideways. I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
That's so cool. Did you see any of the Drift Appalachia?
I saw
pictures?
some of that actually did come across my Facebook feed, and I was like, that is cool as hell.
There was I think it was a Plymouth, but it was a Plymouth that was going sideways with mismatched doors, and it was in primer, and it was so cool.
At Backroads?
At Backroads, this last event they just did.
Like a Plymouth Neon?
No, not like a Plymouth Neon, like a Plymouth muscle car. Like it was 35 feet long. It had the doors that.
You sure it wasn't Devin?
I don't know that it wasn't Devin,
In
but,
his Catalina?
but yeah, it was like a 70s Plymouth. It was fucking cool as shit.
Yeah, so one of the videos I saw too, I don't know if it was like, I don't know, there was a guy drifting, and it was a video from his dash following a cop, following another guy, and
Yeah.
I was like, is this
Oh,
guy
yeah.
getting pulled over? I thought this was a sanctioned event.
Just a show.
Just a show. Did you ever do any of the drifting stuff?
No. I mean, when my Subaru, I did some stupid shit, and I pulled the e-brake in a
all-wheel
in a park.
drive?
Yeah, when you're not supposed to. So that's probably why my rear end was howling, and that's why I traded it in. But yeah, so that after that, Colorado ended up getting the 2014 JKU.
Okay.
Yeah, so then I ended up building that, and I think I put that was on 37s.
What year was this? Did you buy that new?
Yeah, I bought it brand new.
Okay.
Brand new,
Was that
2014.
that was your first
That
new
was
car?
my first like brand new vehicle ever. And I've always wanted a Jeep at that time because the whole between the Explorer and the Colorado, I'm like, I'm tired of wheeling IFS because it's like CV joint,
Yeah.
joint. And I'm like, you can't lift these things like
Just bought a Bronco.
a new one.
That was before
yeah.
Broncos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that experience because I was doing some not so legal wheeling back in like 2016 over behind the Lifetime in Ashburn, which is now a data center.
Yeah, the AOL area.
Yeah, the AOL area. In my 2004 Silverado, and it was horrible. It was fun as shit because I was with my buddy Alex, who had a WJ on 4.5 inches long arms and 35s. The first thing that went wrong is he got stuck and I got stuck. So he was in front of me. So he ran his winch down the side of his vehicle. And then to the front of my truck. So way he could at least pull himself backwards because I was the heavier weight.
Yeah.
He ended up getting free and backed into my grill and bent my hood and crushed my grill. And then on the way out, because we're like, all right, we're done now.
Yeah.
On the way out, I broke two CV axles.
Oof.
Just in mud.
Yeah.
Was that Bruce?
That was the original. Yeah, that was Bruce.
Okay. The one that you broke your tie rods at the Cove?
Yeah, tie rods and my
It had to
CV
pee.
axles. It had to pee. So yeah, the CV axle thing gets real old real quick.
Yeah. It's mine was always like I'd break the boot because I cranked the torsion bars up too much, and then it starts click 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 click. And you're like, shit.
So you got the 14 Jeep.
Yes, I had the 14 Jeep. I did the whole rock crawler suspension. Shout out Rock Crawler, my favorite suspension company.
We're going. That's the reason we're going to Moab in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
We're going out with.
I love their product is like the best. Of course, now I don't own anything I can put it on, maybe except the F-250, but I'm not doing that.
That was a nice truck, man.
Yeah.
That is a nice truck.
Thank
Beautiful.
you. Yeah, I should have bought that before I went to Trail Hero.
Hey.
You'll learn.
Yeah. But that's actually because of the JKU. That's how I found the Cove.
Yep.
Yeah.
And got introduced into actual real wheeling.
Yeah.
That's where the bug got bit.
Yeah.
That's some big real wheeling out there too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's big real wheeling, but there's a nice range, but you can get into some stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Where did you start with going out with big dogs then, I assume?
So the actual first big dogs event I ever went to, my buddy Jay Edwards hit me up and was like, hey, I'm going camping at this place called the Cove. I'm like, all right, well, I lived in North Carolina for like 2 years and camped on the beach. Like, what's camping in the woods? I'm like, all right, yeah, sure. So we go out there, and little did he know that it was an actual big dogs event. And somehow we paid the Cove, and big dogs let us in. Like, you have to pay us. Or my buddy was like, we're not wheeling. You know, like we're just here to camp, and somehow they let us in.
Yeah, they still do that.
But I mean, that was back when John was running it too. So anyway, we camped out in back of Camp 6, and I didn't bring a tent because I was like, I'll just sleep on the back of the Jeep. Man, I woke up one morning, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, some dude drunk singing "Buy Me a Boat" all night long in front of his
What year was
campfire.
this?
This had to have been like 20. This is about 2015, 2016, somewhere in there. I didn't have my Jeep that long.
Because I started going to the Cove in 17.
Yeah, so I was introduced to junkyard Jeeps on like 1-ton axle swaps. Like I met this dude and he was like, I built this thing for $8,000. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, then my little Jeep, I'm like trying to follow them around and like, I didn't pay to wheel, but I'm wheeling today, I guess. And it was a mess. I went through a mud hole, ripped my muffler fell off, and broke the side mirror on a tree late at night. I'm like, I'm not doing this again.
Little did you know.
Yeah.
Look at you now.
So was that after all of the mods were done? I hate calling them mods, but after you put all the rock crawler stuff on there, you went out there.
Yeah, actually, so I had the suspension done and I had my tires done. And I want to say I actually did that was when I put my Grizzly locker. So I had the Grizzly air lockers front and rear on that thing. A Dana 30 with sleeves and a Grizzly locker.
So that's what I run on the XJ. It's a Dana 30 with a truss, chromoly shafts, and a locker. Tight little unit.
I mean, the Dana 30 can.
That felt wrong to say.
I mean, it can work. I mean, I seen a rear steer buggy a guy built with two Dana 30s front and rear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing was light.
It works.
Yeah.
So from the Cove, wheeling there, breaking your shit. How did you came home mechanically in one piece? You just ripped some mufflers and mirrors off?
the muffler
pieces.
The muffler had fell off, and I just threw it in the back of the Jeep, and the mirror ended up getting on Amazon and ordered another one. You know.
Yeah.
But I learned my lesson from trying to follow $8,000 junkyard builds.
But at first, in my stupid little head, I'm like, $8,000. That's a pretty nice little. I'm like, that's a piece of shit. I love it. Though.
It was like some dude. The guy I met was like from Pennsylvania, and he was like, "I work at a junkyard."
Yeah.
He's like, "I bought this YJ tub I had laying around, but I got this axle out of a Chevy and this Dana."
It's a YJ tub on a TJ frame, and Ford axles, and the motor's out of a 2004 Camaro.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah,
It's just fucking hodgepodge.
Hey, 2004 Camaro's kind of pretty. 2004 Camaro didn't exist. They died in 2002. Idiot.
Hold on, let me push your glasses up there.
Listen, I'm also a Camaro nerd.
This is the dirt drive.
Yeah, I can drive my Camaro on dirt. I can't drive my Camaro anywhere because it doesn't run.
There you go.
Damn it.
but yeah, that was definitely like the introduction to like the crazy stuff that is actually wheeling like 43s. Like I had never thought about axle swaps and stuff all like that. I mean, like I kind of looked into SAS stuff, when I had the Explorer, but like as far as like you get this rear end from a Chevy, you use that front end from a Ford, like what?
Yeah.
So then it trickled down to I started finding people to wheel with and looking up the events to go back to actually be, hey, I'm coming here to wheel from pay to wheel. So that's, I guess most people in the area know me as I started what was Nomad Jeepers.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
It was a Jeep club. And I started that. I met like 2 or 3 people at Cars and Coffee and was like, hey, let's get together and let's just make a Jeep club or something.
Oh, so you were one of the founders of Nomad?
Yeah, technically, yeah. I no longer no longer affiliated. Like I think I looked the other day. I think there still is a page for it on
there's
Facebook.
still a page for it. Yeah, and I know the page.
But yeah, like I started out, just getting people together to like hang out and camp, and I wanted it to be like family friendly and. Hey, I'm gonna go wheel. Let's all wheel together and camp together. And people made fun of me because I would do like ice cream socials or whatever, like just to get people together and get out of the house,
community.
Yeah, but of course, you always have those people like ice cream. I don't want to eat ice cream. I want to go wheel. Yeah.
I want to do hard shit.
Well, we wheeled last weekend,
brother.
so I can't wheel this weekend.
Yeah.
How did you come to the fact? Not come to the fact, but how did you come up with that parts list for the first Jeep? Because I mean, that sounds like a pretty damn well built Jeep. Did you do all your research on forums or asking people around that you knew, or
that forums is like forums and YouTube is I
Pirate 4x4.
Yeah, a little bit, but like I don't know if you could say it's my ADHD or whatever, but like I'll hone in on a hobby, and I'll research it for weeks and weeks and weeks. Like right now, like my other thing, I got bored. I start maybe it's because I'm almost 40. I started looking at like barbecue smokers, and like one day I was on YouTube and I went down the rabbit hole of how to build a smoker out of a propane tank.
Yep,
it's dangerous.
And it's like, my buddies have like 110 Kawasaki's. Next thing you know, I'm researching parts for
RC crawlers
for a dirt bike that I don't know. Yeah, I got an RC crawlers too. I have like 2 of them at the house it's like
that you don't. You just sit there.
Yep.
Yeah. I actually the last one I bought it because I wanted it with rear steer, and I painted it just like the buggy.
Yep.
Like took it all apart.
Oh, you did the Baja Blast on it too?
Yeah.
I blame Freddie for my RC addiction.
See, if I was better with money, I would have an RC car, but then that would also make me worse with money. Yeah. Because I want one so badly. I want the Miller Motorsports chassis one. Yeah. Because that's so fucking cool.
If I hadn't spent the money on mine, I would have definitely dished out some cash to get that Miller Motorsports one.
Yeah. Well, they're still making them. So.
Oh yeah.
just so you know,
I'm definitely gonna get another one because I love my little what is it? The axial Capra.
That's what I have. The 4-wheel steer. Yeah.
That thing's awesome.
Yeah.
Makes me want a buggy though.
Yeah,
I know.
The forums are definitely a dangerous place. I grew up in the generation. Oh, what the fuck is that? Oh, that's a tick. I'm gonna let you guys go, and I'm gonna pull this tick off of me.
Oh no. So yeah, forums are a very dangerous place.
Yeah. So I don't know if I didn't grow up in the right time frame for forums because I also never had a MySpace.
Oh, I did. Tom was always my number one friend.
I did. Yep.
But yeah, it seems like the guys that were big on the forums started social media with MySpace because MySpace was really just a forum to hang out with your friends and chat.
Yeah.
From how I understand it. But yeah, I dabble on the Badlines forum now because I chat with them sometimes, and there's some rabbit holes. Forums are the Reddit of information that's not.
Some of these Facebook groups
theories.
Are dangerous too.
I mean, now what is that? Discord? You have Discord now?
Yeah.
So
there's like everything.
Yep.
I will say with the Facebook groups, it's more the fucking idiots are on Facebook.
Well, yeah, but you get.
I haven't found a good Facebook group that I've actually gotten a lot of information from. Any of the good information from I've gotten from forums.
I've noticed a lot lately that you can get on these Facebook groups that are like all about like helping each other out. But as soon as somebody new comes in and then just asks a question, there's always at least one guy that's like, "Fucking idiot," and you're like, "The fuck."
Maybe it's because I'm on the wrong Facebook groups, but it's all the ones that I find. There's one. It's DIY 4x, which is like a Chevy square body modification forum, and the guy who runs it owns. I think DIY 4x is like a square body. He makes parts for him.
Yeah.
But he also not monitors. He's a moderator. He's a and he moderates what posts go out.
The moderator.
That's so much work, though.
Yeah, that's like I got onto like there's a Facebook group for crawler haulers.
Yeah.
Oh.
And like people, I got on there one
time. It's like
time.
rock crawling classifieds.
Yeah, but I got on there one time and I'm just looking. Someone like there's so many posts about how people ask how you manage your camper to your trailer. Yeah. And there's there's always everybody arguing back and forth. Yeah. Leave the axles on and make a plate and bolt it to this. And this one guy's like, well, I welded mine directly to the frame. Yeah. And you're like, you can't do that. It's gonna fall apart.
Dumb. Why would you do it this way?
It's gonna bend.
I'm like, I'm not a structural engineer and I don't know either what. I'd have to do my own research before I start believing anybody in this.
Fucking keyboard warriors that just know exactly what you need for your own rig. People
Yeah.
are just trying to get answers from other people who have the same setup, and it's like,
But that's where the
can we
forums
just focus.
that's where the forums are beautiful because any stupid question you feel like you might be asking, you just type into Google and type in whatever you're
Yeah.
working on.
I'd rather
and
just search
already,
it.
There's already a forum filled out
Yeah.
with that answer, and
Yep.
and you have different people's like 3-paragraph long
Yeah.
descriptions of what they did, why it did and didn't work.
Monthly update. It's still working.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do, and it's funny is every time you'll Google it and you'll click on from like, oh, this blank blah 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 form. You
Yeah.
click on it and someone will ask a question, three responses down. Did you use the search function? I'm like, I am searching on Google right now to find my answer.
Yeah, or someone asks a question in that forum post. It's a link to another forum
Yeah.
where that question has already been answered.
Yeah,
People don't do that on Facebook, and it's annoying.
Whatever.
yeah. I do the same thing even on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'll get in a group and I'll actually this group's about this, and let me search what.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. So how'd you spiral from the? How long did you have the 14 for? The 14 JK.
4 or 5 years.
Okay.
I'm
That's a
like
pretty long time.
I'm like horrible when it comes to vehicles though. Like I just
That's
use
not
it
horrible at all.
I
That's
get
great.
and I get
You're
bored.
doing
and I
better
flip
than
it.
Freddie.
You're doing
I'll
better than
give you that.
Tom.
Yeah, I think Freddie's gets a new vehicle every 2 months.
He's into motorcycles now, which is dangerous.
Yeah, I just saw.
Because I just turned 30, and my wife is giving me. When we get back from Moab, I'm doing my motorcycles license class.
Yeah.
So I can get a dual sport and go ride it with Freddie and Jed.
There you
I
go.
want to do mine too.
Let's do it together. My brother and my dad are going to do it with me in Winchester.
Yeah, I need to do it. I've been talking about it for years.
Yeah,
do it.
I did mine at the Nova up here in Sterling.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to go to the Harley Davidson on 50,
Okay.
and we're going to do it out there.
Is it the place that gives you everything? Like,
Yep, gives you it's like $215
Yeah.
for a 2-day class, but they give you a bike to ride, and they do the test there, and you leave with your license.
Fuck yeah.
You got to have your permit first though, I think.
You don't. You can
No?
go. In, you can
Yeah.
go in.
You can literally just go in and take the test.
Go in raw and come out wet.
Because the one I did, they supplied a bike and all that, but I think you had to have your permit first. And then when you of course they do the test like every
How old were you when you did it?
20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know if you're under 18, you have to have your, or not. If you're 18,
Yeah, it's just like your driver's
you have to have your
license. Like, you
permit
have to have your permit.
for a while.
Yeah.
But I think it's after 21 you can just go get your license.
Yeah, motorcycles is vastly different from what I've heard. But
So that's the next rabbit hole is. I'm still avoiding the RC crawlers
Yeah.
avoid it
'Cause
as long as you can.
because I know that'll be bad. Because you've seen my house. I've got a little creek next to my house that has all the river rocks you
I was
could
gonna
ever
say,
want.
you could cut
to build a
some
comp
trees
course.
down, make a path down to your little creek, and then have a little crawling area.
And then a fishing hole.
Yep.
Is there fish in there? Can you
No,
fish in?
no,
Oh.
it's too small for fish. But I'm trying to
Tadpoles.
buy the 3 acres that border it,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna
Yeah.
make a little rock crawling area for my Cherokee. Maybe if I can ever buy it. But back to the 14.
Yeah. We'll get off topic here. Reel it in.
That's all right. It's the most dirt drive thing that happens.
Getting off topic is on topic for this
that is
podcast.
that is the bit.
So yeah, the 2014, I had that, and then
Is that 2-door?
no, it was 4-door. It was another land yacht.
Did
Hell
you
yeah.
sell to somebody you knew?
No, I traded it
That's
in.
a great idea. Is never sell anything to anybody you
No,
know.
I traded it in, and they gave me 25 for it.
It's not bad.
I got a two. Yeah, well, so I traded it in for 2006 F250
The
with the 6.0
Burgundy one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the 6.0.
What dealership?
Oof.
The Culpeper Ford.
Oh, okay.
So the funny thing is people kept sending me like they kept posting my Jeep.
Yeah.
And randomly, I actually had the guy message me like months later that bought it.
Yeah.
I guess he came from North Carolina. They gave me 25 for it, but I think they sold it for like 15.
Damn, they couldn't get rid of
They
it.
couldn't get rid of it because
Hey.
I had, not gonna lie, I had a couple body damage dents in it from
Hey.
trees at the cove.
They don't know any better.
But dude, they didn't even look at it.
Yeah.
I was sitting at the table and the guy goes, "Oh, it's a 2014. Okay, we'll give you blah blah. Here's your check." I'm
Yep.
like, "Okay."
Yep.
That's wild. 25 is not bad, but if you consider all the parts you put into it,
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
But
sitting on a
you-
Ford
but-
dealership, and
Yeah.
it's all other Fords. Nobody's really looking for a Jeep there.
but that's kind of cool because we considered when my Jeep was about the two-door was about 5-ish years old, like
Yeah.
2 years ago. We brought it to the Jeep dealership, and they offered us 25 for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's wild how that
25
number
is pretty on par for both 2-door and 4-door
Yeah.
at this point. As long as it's a 3.6 and not a 3.8.
But it's wild because they're going to try and sell it for 30.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. That's
And
probably what
they ate shit on
Stock
yours.
Yeah.
or upgraded.
Yeah. They were like, oh, this thing's got a winch on it. This
Yeah.
has got this. And then I'm like, you don't see the dented in headlight bezel. And like I had the Smitty built fenders on it, like the real
flat style ones.
Yeah, they're thin, they're junk,
Yeah.
but they were so close in. They actually made like some kind of bar to come out to put a marker light over the tire. I guess because that's
The dealership did?
Yeah, because their inspector wouldn't pass it or something. And then they asked me if the guy reached out to me afterwards and was like, do you have the factory headlights? Because these aren't DOT. I should have said, go eat it. Like I don't have
You've already
It's not
bought
my
this.
Jeep
Yeah,
anymore,
like-
bro. Like,
it's not mine. Yeah. But I don't. My whole main reason was I always wanted a diesel when I worked at the Ford dealership, And at the point in my head, I'm like, I'm beating the crap out of this thing that I drive to work every day.
Yeah.
It's time for me to go find
Yep.
that $2,000 Jeep and make it capable and, put it on a trailer and take it home, So that was kind of what happened is I traded it for the F-250 and ended up getting a $1,500 YJ.
it's not
Nice.
bad.
Same YJ you have now,
Well, yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah, for
Not
the
for
YJ.
the less part.
For the less part. The parts
What's
the
left
parts
of it.
the parts vehicle.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one it had the elusive rear spring hanger rotted out in it.
Yep.
And I didn't have a trailer at the time, so I got the old U-Haul. Did the old
Yep.
U-Haul trailer, and I hit up my buddy Scott Becker down there in Spotsylvania, and I literally took it from my house to his on the U-Haul trailer. I had the safety caps. We welded the safety caps in, and the next weekend I was wheeling at the Cove.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Spoken like a true YJ owner.
But that move to your first diesel, you're so excited until you realize how expensive it is to own a diesel.
Oh, the oil changes and all that, and I won't mention that it threw 2 rods out the side of the block. Oh, like 3 years later, and I put a $9,000 motor into it.
It's bulletproof.
I went from
It was supposed to be.
I went from a 14 Silverado to a 2003 Duramax, and I was so excited, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is the coolest, and I still love that truck, but I sold it because it was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
It's the ghost of your Silverado.
Knocking at the door.
but yeah, so excited, but then throwing rods and just diesel problems. I had the injector problem. I'm sure you lifted ahead at some point.
No, luckily
On the
I
6
did.
liter, you never lifted ahead on the 6 liter?
It was supposedly bulletproof when I got it.
Okay.
And then I found out through taking pictures, because it was a Harley Davidson edition. It was a guy that was local to the area of people that I knew that were in my friends group. And like, oh, that's so-and-so's truck, blah, 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 blah. So I reached out to him, and he was like, oh, I had a bigger turbo on it, and the turbo blew, and then I put it all back to stock, and I traded it in. And I'm sitting there going,
So the dealership lied to you.
I'm hoping I didn't buy just somebody's headache.
Yeah.
And so, and this is actually around the time I was going to, after the YJ was built, I was getting ready to go to the Cove and stuff. And obviously I had to put a motor in it. And like the 3rd or 4th time I went to the Cove with the YJ, I ran into Hadley.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Hadley was already in like my friend circle, kind of like people knew of him, but didn't know him. And so I showed him, I actually still keep it as a piece of the rod. And he starts looking at it. And this is how smart he is. He's like, you see this right here? I go, yeah. He's like, that's called beaching. I go, okay. He's like, see how smooth it is? And then this is rough. I go, yeah. He goes, this has been cracked for a long time. He's like, it was already getting ready to break at some point. And that's why it's rough on this side, because that's where it freshly broke.
Damn.
I was like,
So
say what?
probably when you got it from the dealer, it was already starting to fuck up.
Yeah, because all I did was pull out of my neighborhood and barely get on it, like get just to get up to speed like 20 miles an hour to make a U-turn, and it threw 2 rods right outside I was like,
Fuck.
what the hell?
Jeez.
But yeah, he told me that, and I was like, tell me again, Professor, what else do you know?
You need to have him on the podcast too.
Teach me your secret. I've
Professor
never,
Hadley.
I've never heard of him until this morning.
Really?
Yeah, I don't even know the name.
I feel like I've talked about Hadley before.
PJ, you have so many friends you talk about, and they're all on the podcast at some point.
He's the one who gave PJ his axles for his 1-ton swap.
Culpepper Customs.
Culpepper Customs.
Okay, I didn't know his name.
Come on, man.
I know Culpepper. I didn't know his name. I know Culpepper Customs.
Mr.
Yes.
Hadley Spencer.
Hey, he's stopped by the shop a couple times too. He wanted measurements on the axles to make the
Trusses.
control arm tabs and then a couple other things. And he's breaking up tape measure and getting the dial indicator, and I'm like,
Yeah.
just watching him
Do
work.
magic.
Yeah. So anyway, the 92, I ended up doing like a 8.8 in the rear
Yep.
and a Waggy 44 in the front.
Hell yeah.
Waggy.
37s. The Rancho Waggy 44 spring, so it gave it 2 inches of stretch either direction and plus 4 inches of lift because they were 2.5. So it's 2 inches of lift when you use a Wagoneer spring.
And then you go spring over because the YJ's originally spring under, right?
And I kept it spring under.
Okay.
Yeah. So that it worked for what it was, and then like I said, it all snowballed, and I gathered all the parts. And
When did you get the leaf springs stuck? I remember you.
oh, I did. That was after I did.
I remember that post.
The leaf spring stuck.
So after I finished building it on the 44s and the 37s.
I like the quotes, the air quotes.
air quotes.
Was that still on your Instagram?
Yes, it is. It's on my
gotta find that.
It's on my personal.
I remember that because you were with Angel and shit too, right?
Yeah, that was the first built to heel I went to. I think I went to 2 of his. I think that because I did one, and then I think you did the last one. I think. No, I went to Topless for Tatas, and then I did the built to heel.
All up at Roush. I fucking love Roush.
I
man.
love Roush because I hate mud.
Yeah, Roush is.
It's stinky up there, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Roush is by far my favorite off-road park.
I really
Have you
want to
been
go
to
back
Good
to
Evening Ranch yet?
AOA.
I've not.
Then you'll change your mind once you go there.
I know.
Yeah.
I wanted to go last 2 weeks ago with Leah. I just couldn't make it down there. Financially, I'm still strapped to go to Moab.
I'm a little bummed I didn't get to go to that one.
Because we had talked about this because she invited me out to go there and help her out with that. But so that was when I first finished, and I was Yellow Jacket. To this day, that I haven't gone up there yet and hit it with the buggy, and I've been there once since the buggy was completed. But that trail is my demise because that trip I inverted my leaf spring, as you can see, and that's with the Warrior leaves for a YJ. That wasn't the Waggy Rancho leaves. It literally like folded it up underneath there, and me and a bunch of New York guys.
It went up on a trailer though, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
okay.
I trailered it up there. My buddy Tom Murphy and then Greg. Man, Greg's gonna kill me for his last name, but he's got a YJ, like a little red one. Like I followed his build too because he's got a 9-inch front and rear, and
that's cool.
that thing is so low on like 38s, like it's just like a low center of gravity build, and it just worked. But we literally took a high lift jack. And I think it's when I met Billy Pummel because they were cranking the front end up, and Billy's taking somebody else's high lift jack and trying to like fold the
So you didn't? Did you reverse bend your leaf, or you just bent it even further the way it was supposed to go?
So what happened was the hanger, because I didn't have boomerang shackles.
Hanger flipped.
The hanger basically flipped up against the frame, and when it did that, it actually bent the leaf spring.
Just more.
Yeah.
I did that. So this is one of my stupidest stories. I just put the long arms on my Cherokee. And I was backing out of Tom's driveway. Tom Sylvester owns a shop. Backing out of his driveway to go flex it on his hill.
Yeah.
I was so excited backing out of his driveway. I fucking backed in tire to tire with Trevor's Jeep at the time, and I did the exact same thing. I inverted my shackle and I bent my leaf spring.
Yeah.
Granted, I still have the same leaf springs and shackles. I just unbent it. But dude, it was such a bummer.
Yeah, it sucked. That ended my day, and I ended up riding with Greg the rest of the day.
Where is it?
What are you looking for?
I'm trying to find the little video clip of you guys trying to fucking uninvert with a high lift shaft.
What was there a video clip?
I'm pretty sure there was. Maybe it was on your Facebook.
If it wasn't on maybe it's on Billy Pummel's. I can't remember.
Maybe.
But it wasn't me that recorded it, so obviously. I'm just, innocent bystander, and we're like trying to jack it up. And
I remember seeing it because obviously friends with Billy too, and I was like, fucking Tommy.
yeah.
So you just from there you just kept going down the rabbit hole of making it narrow, putting a full cage on it.
Yeah. So
Like
that's
how did that transition happen?
so that was.
Tell me about you transitioning.
Whoa! Wait a minute now.
Oh shit, that's a good one.
So that was
That's
like
sketchy as hell, dog.
dude, it was crazy. Like they're all like, "You're gonna die, and I'm like, I'm getting out of the way, and I'm like, Billy, if you want to flip it, go ahead. I'm waiting for this high lift jack to like kick out and like smack somebody in the face. But So after doing that, all those 2 events, I started wheeling at the Cove with it some more, and that's when I was going up with my buddy Ivan, and we'd always link up with Hadley and Seth. Seth owns Frederick County Customs, a powder coating up in Winchester. Yeah. So we'd link up with them, and I started to talk to Hadley more, and like we'd all ride, and they would go up the hard stuff up front. Damn, I can't remember the name of the trails now. KGB.
Okay.
And like, I'd play in the rock garden, and we're like, hey, we're gonna go hit KGB. I'm like, all right, cool, let's go. And they're like, no, park your shit. You're gonna ride with somebody.
Yeah, but with a Waggy 44 and an 8.8, that's a pretty solid little axle build with 37s. I mean, fucking wheel it till it breaks.
That was my whole point, but I think their whole point was they didn't want to recover me.
That's fair.
You're on your own, kid.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some crazy XJs at the Cove that have the doors ripped off, fucking poop pipe tube on it, that are on 37s and stock axles, and they put those things in places they shouldn't go.
Yeah.
Like those,
the Cove. The Cove brings out some fucking wild people.
But
yeah,
to that point, it's unbelievable how strong a high pinion 30 in an 8 1/4 is.
Yeah.
Like, I've been wheeling the shit out of my 30 and my 8 1/4 for, what is it?
Math.
6-7 years. And the only thing I've ever broken on it is the front axle shafts. And I bent the ear tabs on Quorum. And that's it. Like, I've got a used 410 gear set in there that I beat the shit out of. Like,
you have used gears?
My gears are used. I bought them from a guy, and so I bought a set of axles out of it was like a 94 4-cylinder standard XJ. Because if the 4-cylinder standards had 410 gearing, because they needed the gearing to make that work together. And I didn't know that at the time. Like, I was just like, oh, cool, dude. Like, it's a nice set of axles. Like, whatever. I ended up pulling the gears out of it, and I'm like, I'm going to put them in mine. And they worked perfectly, and they still work perfectly.
Yeah. Knock on wood.
But yeah, the Waggy 44 and the 8.8 is fucking gold, man.
Yeah. The only thing I ever did to it was I broke a inner shaft again on Yellow Jacket.
Yeah.
So that's, but other than that, I mean, I sold them to a guy I was like, hey, these bolt into a YJ, and like he bought them. He's like, yeah, I'm going to put them in another YJ or a CJ8 project or something. Yeah. But yeah, I never really had any issues with them. I mean, I had, a mini spool in the back, and the front was a Grizzly locker. I mean, they worked,
Like it.
I mean, that Jeep to me went anywhere I wanted it to go,
Yeah.
But of course, when you wheel with people with 43s, you always have to go bigger. And that's
the weekend that you wheel with buggies and, rear steer crawlers, you're like, wow, I definitely feel superior now.
Well, now I want rear steer.
Well, and that's, yeah. Yeah, after seeing Leah's bug and Brent's buggy, Leah's buggy and Brent's buggy, dude, they're so fucking cool.
I just want crab walk.
Yeah, so
it's so fucking cool.
I'm a YouTube nerd, so I like watch everybody's channel for the most part. And like Ret Gear, watching Bronson like in his buggies, like just going crab walking and stuff.
You can just buy that one.
I know. See, that's the thing. Is
if you have $150,000 to spend.
Yeah.
I just want to crab walk and drink Baja Blast with my friends.
That's a t-shirt.
But no, so anyway, with the 92, it stumbled onto 2-3 years later buying all the moto-built parts, because I'm like, I have to keep up with these guys. Like, I want to wheel my stuff, not ride bitch with somebody else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I got all the moto-built parts and started hitting up Hadley and was like, hey, remember that time that I met you at the Cove and you said you'd help me out? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, hey, does that offer still stand? He's like, yeah, bring it down and let me look at it.
I have parts and no skills.
Yeah.
I don't own a welder.
Yeah.
So yeah, then that's how it's basically snowballed into a tube chassis buggy.
Yeah, because you wanted to wheel the big things with your friends, and your thing wasn't big to wheel with your friends.
Yeah.
That's where I have a lot of buddies that wheel that I started out wheeling with, like James Thornhill. He wheels with Tyler Oberstein or Oberstein.
Oh, yeah.
Overtime.
Is that V8? Was that V8 TJ Silver Silver V8 TJ?
Yeah.
I think so.
James.
James. Yeah,
he
so
LS swapped it.
Yeah, I've met him too.
You out?
I think you started wheeling with your dad.
I did start wheeling with my dad. But so when I started wheeling at the Cove, you're heading out?
Lock the front door.
Will do. Thanks for the space pops.
Yep.
Yeah, when I started wheeling at the Cove, I met James shortly after, and his TJ was mostly stock. It had some moto built parts on it, but it was 35s with lockers and like just super mild. We wheeled a bunch for a year and a half, and then he met they're not Ultra Poor. What's their thing? They're Ultra Poor is Kevin Jones.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
What's their thing?
I can't think of it. Decent Force.
Decent Force. Yeah, they started their Decent Force things, and he built the
No idea
shit.
what you're talking about.
All I know is it's a flag that Oberstein had, and there's another guy that's got the red CJ or
Yeah, and
all these guys, if they know me and they hear this podcast, they'll kill me because they're friends with me on Facebook, but I don't remember their names.
Dude, I don't remember their names either.
Dude, I'm horrible with names.
They never had a name for their group. I always called them the Decent Force guys because they flew the Decent Force flag.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let your Decent Force flag fly. But yeah, so James quickly after he met those guys, started wheeling with those guys more, built the shit out of his TJ.
Yeah.
And like we went from wheeling together pretty frequently to like I got invited to 2 or 3 events and I'm like, I can't go. I
can't keep
I'm
up.
seeing what you guys are doing online.
Yep.
And I will sit in the parking lot the whole time. Like
Yeah.
I'll
I'll
make
make
it to
you
the
guys sandwiches.
I'll make it to the trailhead and that's it. And I never upgraded with that because I mean I've told the story 1,000 times, but I like
Money.
I like money, but I also like the challenge of a small tire and a stock-ish rig.
Yeah.
Because you have more challenges more often.
Oh yeah. It's instead of just running stuff over, you actually really have to pick your lines.
Yeah.
But
It's more of a technical challenge when you're not as capable.
Yeah. So enough about me. Tell me about why you built the fucking rig.
because I wanted to do 24 hours in hell and back.
Did you do it?
And did
No.
Oh.
No,
Come on,
that was-
Marvin.
Yeah, I know. I guess I kind of got friendly with Marvin and Andrew through like Facebook posts, like during my build, because I noticed they'd follow me.
Yeah.
But like I think Hellenbach actually did come out when I had all the moto built parts, and I was like, I really want to do that.
Yeah.
But
That's how my Jeep was with Truck Night in America.
yeah,
I was trying to build my Jeep to go on Truck Night in America, and then it canceled. I was like, God damn it.
but yeah. So then we built it, and then I started wheeling, and that's kind of when I came up with twin stick crawlers
Yep.
because I did the I did the whole Jeep Club thing and was like, I'm tired of drama and dealing with everybody else's crap.
It's the worst.
Like, I'm gonna do something for myself.
And then everybody else can follow along.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to buy a sticker,
Yeah.
great. I got a website, twinstickcrawlers.com.
Shout out.
Shameless plug.
This episode brought to you by Twin Stick Carlos and Baja Blast.
Yes. Hashtag not sponsored. But yeah, so like it was just like one day. So I used to go to the Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion almost every year. It's probably like the 5th year that I'm going again this year.
Do you trailer the buggy down for it?
So the past 2 times I have gone, and I do the ride with Warren. I've been going. So I first started going with my buddy George Calvert, Scott Becker, Dylan Keller, all them, and then it became just me, George, and Scott. Like it was a guy's trip out of it, and then the buggy was finished, and it became just at that time only me and George went. And I was like, I was talking to Marvin, like the first time I ever got to wheel with Marvin and Andrew. We went out there and went wheeling, and at the end of it, I just looked at Jordan and was like, you know what? I want to do something for myself.
Yep.
Like, I don't want to become like famous or rich, like a YouTuber person, whatever. But it's like I like going to a place and be like, hey man, I follow you on Facebook or whatever, Instagram. So I was like, I gotta come up with something, and then I guess riding home, and I was like, oh, twin stick crawlers.
So are you twin stick because the YJ is standard and it's got a transfer case, or do you have the double transfer case thing?
So I have a Dana 300.
Okay, that's
That
also 2 sticks.
Yeah, I converted it, but it was just I don't know. I was trying to think of something like when it came down to the name. I think of something that could not just go with Jeeps, but it could go with anything.
Yep.
you know, Toyota. I mean, of course, the Toyota guys. Well, I got 3 sticks.
I
I'm
got
like,
14 sticks. I got 19 transfer cases.
but it's like me. I don't care. You know, it's like it's my way of getting back to the community that I love.
Yeah.
You know, I love the off road. Whether you drive a Jeep, you drive a Samurai, a Toyota, whatever.
Yep.
You know, it's just my way of giving back something. You know, that's why I kind of started filming my YouTube videos, because there's a lot of people that have nice Jeeps that don't want to beat the crap out of them. And I'm like, hey, just follow me, live through me. I'll smash into a tree. I don't care. You know. But yeah, so that's how that got to be.
Well, yeah, and that really, the idea is the same idea we have. Is there's one Jeep club I like. It's Blue Mountain Jeep Alliance in Pennsylvania. Good bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
I think I'm permanently an honorary member, but I will I'm never gonna be a dues paying member of anything. Like, I just want to go wheel. I don't care if it's a Jeep, a Toyota, whatever the hell it is. Also, like, we've got our buddies we wheel with, but we'll never be a club. We'll never be a dues paying club because it's so much politics. Oh, who's the president? Who's the treasurer? I don't
There's
give
so
a
many
fuck.
people who come and go through different groups, and you just kind of find your, lane.
Your niche.
Yeah.
And
your niche.
you just kind of stick with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're also the Dirt Nerds brand. Like we're
It's kind of like seven
we're not
slot.
it's like,
that's
just like you.
That's kind of how I am. And just, you know, because you have 7 slot, beat not babied. And it's like, you know, whatever. It's just another off-road brand. Buy a sticker. It's cool.
Yep.
Hats, whatever. Yeah.
Support us if you want to support us. If not, look at our cool content.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm not one of those. Like, I went to Leah's event. It was awesome.
Oh yeah.
But me personally, I would probably just put an ad on Facebook going, I'm going to wheel here.
Yep.
You want to wheel with me? Come. Like, you know, it's like mad props to her, because trying to get like a food truck and a band and
that's
organize
so
everything
much
like that
work.
is way too much work and more. I mean, I've helped out doing an event for SHOT Show. Like, I know how crazy these events can be. It's like, I don't want to do that work.
Yeah.
You want
It's
my
a
help?
logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
Because it is a good time going to events like that every once in a while. It's fun to have everything catered for you. Show up, just wheel. Food's there. Food's taken care of. Camping accommodations are taken care of. Like, you just show up and wheel.
Yeah.
But I don't want to put that on.
No.
Somebody else can do it.
Someone else can absolutely do it. And,
Lauren.
and like I said, mad prop. Yeah, Lauren. I don't think Lauren is she going to do that.
She did. She has a logistics background.
Okay.
I still don't think she wants to deal with that headache.
No. Mad props to Leah for that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
But like I said, not for me. I'll go. I want to go next time she does it, but I'll never put one on.
Yeah. But
Did you ever go to Red Cloud before it shut down?
Oh, yes. I did. That was actually when I had my 4-door JK.
Was it?
Yeah, I went.
Okay.
I went there like once or twice.
Because Becker was it Becker or?
That's when Dylan Keller rolled over
Dylan.
and supposedly spilled a bunch of oil, or somebody. I don't know.
I mean, there was a photo of him standing on his Jeep with trans fluid just kind of like trickling through the creek there.
Yeah.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Well, I think they were also doing that under the cover of illegalness too.
Yeah, there was always something real
Some
sketchy
shady-
about that because there was
yeah.
like a fucking apartment complex like right there.
Yeah, it's like they owned the property or their friend owned the property, and they supposedly used to shoot guns and stuff out there. I don't know.
'Cause what was that? Chantilly?
No, that was like Woodbridge, like right off
yeah,
95. You had to go
Okay.
through. Like I
It
s-
backed up pretty close to Quantico too, didn't
Something
it?
like that.
yeah,
Like it was in a real weird, sketchy spot.
yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I was only there like once or twice.
Yeah.
I think it definitely got shut down by Prince William County.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me.
I think lawyers got involved, and I think what's happened. I don't think the Dylan incident.
That wasn't
helped
the
it.
catalyst, but
Yeah, I mean, supposedly someone took pictures and was like sending it to the EPA and like all this other stuff, and
yeah.
that's good.
Somebody was a whistleblower, but at the same time, it was not the best place.
Yeah.
No,
It was fun, but it's a little too far into the city for us to like really have like a cove experience.
yeah,
So it doesn't surprise me that it got shut down as fast as it did.
So with the transition to the tons and the 40s and the like how quickly did that waterfall from the 44 and the
Quickly.
8.8?
oh, yeah, quickly.
It's like literally overnight. You're like, hey Hadley, like we're doing this. He's like, hell yeah, and you just fucking dropped it off. And
I actually was there every weekend
Okay.
building with him side by side.
hell yeah.
So it was like every weekend, it was like I was going to school.
Okay.
You know, it was his brainchild, but he would ask my input, and I'd look at him like, okay, can we change it this way, change it that way? Like, it was just.
You were there with a grinder and
Yeah, dude,
I running the notcher. You weren't laying down any dimes welding, but
No, I mean, I was tack welding and stuff.
Okay.
Like, I went out and I got my own Miller welding helmet because years ago I did take a stick welding class, but that was like years prior. So like I knew like the basics.
Yeah.
And
Enough to get by.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So it was definitely a great learning experience. Like I've cut stuff before and I've, turned a wrench and put a bolt in somewhere. But as far as like the geometry of how suspension goes, like
the
to this day,
engineering behind it.
to this day, if I built something else by myself, I would still have to hire him to consult him and like, hey, how do I put my suspension links on? Where does this go?
yeah, how do I get anti-squat or how do I get squat or like how do I what are the angles I
dive
need?
and all that? Like he pulled a laptop out and was like, all right, he looked at me, he was like, all right, what's your wheelbase you want? What height do you really want it at? And I'm like, 118, I guess. And he's like, okay.
There is I can't remember the name of the website, but there is a good online resource for setting up geometry.
Yeah.
And you go and you type everything in and it does give it to you right there. But then it's the fact of putting concepts to steel. That's the part that fucking would whoop my ass.
Yeah.
Also, I can't weld. But yeah, that's the part that would whoop my ass.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. But it was just interesting to see. It was just crazy to me to see, like, we had like a small chassis table. My rear axle was in the back. My front axle, the motor, transmission, transfer case were already together. And it was just like built everything around it. He's like, okay, we're going to build the frame rails here. Here's the frame rails. Now we're going to connect everything else together. And
Did he have the garage by then, or was
no,
he?
we were building this in his 2-car or 1.5
Yep.
car garage.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
of the photos that I saw when you guys were first starting, it
Yeah.
didn't look like his shop.
No, there was definitely not enough room to get to the driver's side
Yeah.
of the buggy. Like you could get back there, but there wasn't like if I had to pull an axle shaft, I had to pull the rear axle out.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Did you stick with the 4-liter?
Yeah, so originally
It's a genius idea, by the way.
it's
Like not even giving you shit. Sticking with a 4-liter is a great idea.
well, it's a trustworthy motor, and I know how to work on those motors. Not saying that LSs
Yeah.
are easier to work on or anything like that, but it's like I knew the motor worked, and I knew the transmission worked. But then again, my buddy Kyle Garrison gave me an AW4, so I went from an AX15 to AW4.
Great transmission.
But I knew that motor worked,
Yep.
and then
Kiss. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
stupid.
Well, it's also you're overbuilt suspension and you're underpowered.
Yeah.
So it's reliable. You're not going to break anything
Yeah.
unless you're going to like just detonate the motor. It's going to stall.
Yeah.
It's pretty much just going to stall if you get in a bind because you don't have enough power to spin those tires and snap an axle shaft because your axle shafts are fucking tons.
I think the only thing I ever did was I snapped a 1550 U-joint cap, but that's because
Yeah.
I realized the caps were spinning in the shaft, so I just ended up tack welding them all. But yeah, I mean, the 4.0, I love the 4.0. Of course, my dumbass at the time when we built it was I want an M90 supercharger.
Hell yeah.
So I fabbed up how to put a supercharger on this thing, like made
Is
a
it
plate.
supercharged?
Not anymore. Oh, not anymore. I mean, it had a blow off valve on it, but it sounded like a really bad power steering pump. So like
You gotta do it into the mic, PJ.
Well, that's too loud.
so if you find earlier videos of when I first built it, like I off-road and chill.
So fucking cool.
So like off-road and chill and flex rocks and rollovers were at the Warn ride the first Warn ride I did. And I actually, Trail 15 was one of the times I launched it up. And like you can hear the supercharger just like, And so anyway, after thinking about it more, this with the supercharger, it sat right where the AC compressor was. So if I ever had to pull spark plugs,
Oh,
and I thought to myself, I like to get a little toasty sometimes, and that if I'm wheeling at night, I am not pulling the supercharger off to pull plugs because I rolled this thing over and I have to get oil out of the cylinders.
that's a nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's ways you could probably figure out how to like make it a quick disconnect or some kind of in some fashion for serviceability, but
for the power that it really gave me,
Yeah.
I don't even know if it was much at all. Plus, then I was having overheating issues, so I don't know if that was the whole, because I didn't have an intercooler, and
You went from 175 horse to like 210, and you're like, it's the 30. Is the 30 horsepower worth it?
outside of turbos,
Yeah.
I've never really seen anybody like
I mean,
have success stories with supercharging,
like
Jeeps.
the
specifically.
Jeeps, but in like the hot rod world, superchargers are great.
Yeah,
but
like
in
I
the-
feel like it's a specific engine that you have to implement it on for
Well,
it to
yeah,
do
the-
anything like beneficial.
the Terminator Cobras,
Yeah.
those were beautiful. That has the best turbo supercharger line of anything ever built.
Yeah.
But yeah, with like a supercharger or turbocharger on an off-road vehicle that's not doing high RPMs, you don't really gain much.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you gain much when you're fucking pinning it to jump over these rocks, but like
When you're rock bouncing.
we're not. At least I'm
But I
not
don't think
doing
you want to do
often.
that either.
No, I like crawling more than
I
bouncing.
can't
Yeah.
remember the last time I put the pedal to the floor in my Cherokee.
Yeah.
Granted, because I haven't driven my Cherokee in a while, but
It's not, we're not busted knuckle
Yeah.
doing, hill climbs and shit.
yeah. But then the other issue for me was, how do I tune this thing?
Yep.
yeah.
And so that's when it steams down to, I run a Holley Terminator X.
Okay.
And I don't know, it snowballed into, that was another snowball effect of me researching on how this thing works.
I didn't realize Holly even dabbled in the 4-liter world.
They don't.
Oh,
So
Well,
this is all,
this is the master. He did all the forum searching.
yeah. There was a guy I found that had a 4-cylinder on the Holley forums. He had a 4-cylinder Jeep motor that he was putting a turbo on.
Okay.
And so,
Easier than you think.
a turbo on a 4-liter?
On the
Well,
4-cylinder.
yeah.
On the,
Oh,
the
4-cylinder.
2.5.
Yeah.
Shared the same block as the Neon SRT8.
Yes.
So you could
The SRT4.
SRT4.
Yeah.
So the SRT4 Neon had the exact same block and exhaust port configuration as the 2.5, and you can literally hot swap the turbo.
Yeah.
As far as I know, I don't know.
Don't
Yeah.
tell Devin that.
So like, as far as like, I didn't know, I was trying
That's why
to
they
read,
call us the Dirt Nerds.
Actually.
so like I was trying to research like the connectors for the sensors and like, is this, because because the Holley has to read like coolant temperature
Yeah.
and your air fuel mixture and like your throttle body sensors and
There's
all
a whole
that
bunch
stuff.
of shit that it's got to read.
Yeah. So somehow supposedly all the Jeep sensors are Delphi,
Yeah.
which are like the GM sensors, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of the connectors actually worked.
Yeah.
But for my throttle position sensor, what I did was I got a GM pigtail, extension pigtail, and spliced it into the wiring for the Jeep.
That's sketchy as
And,
hell.
and plugged it right, and it plugs right in, and it reads it as long as you have your, you look at the wiring diagram to figure out which one's to open, which one's,
Yeah.
that's how it works. And then from the ignition side, I run the Holley digital, and then it reads the crank sensor. The crank sensor was the pain in the ass one that I had to do, because the Holley only reads like so many, like, what is it, 13:2 or whatever the teeth ratio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It won't read the factory Jeep
Well, because the
ratio.
factory Jeep teeth are wild.
It's like some weird pattern that only Jeep uses.
Yeah.
So what I had to
Well,
do,
it also doesn't translate between so they had the fucking coil on plug,
Yeah.
4 liters, and they had the distributor cap 4 liters.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different flywheel, and then the 2.5 4-cylinder had a different flywheel.
Yeah.
So it was all different, and all the computers were programmed differently. That's why they were the Dirt Nerds.
yeah, I think for me, my buddy was telling me to do the AW4. I had to get like a '96 Cherokee flex
Yeah.
plate
Yeah.
to swap over
Sorry,
for
yeah,
my
flex
flywheel.
plate, not flywheel, same
Yeah.
thing.
But so what I had to do was I found a company. It's called DIY Auto Tuning,
Okay.
and they sell all different kinds of tuning parts and stuff. They had a crank plate that you bolt to your crank harmonic balancer.
Yeah.
So it's like a 30-to-1. Is like,
Okay.
I guess it was I'm probably messing it up. It's like 30-to-1 ratio or something like
Yeah.
that. So I used the factory Jeep sensor, built a bracket off right over the crank, and in the crank there's actually
So you repositioned it to the front of the motor?
yes. So if you look,
It's fucking wild.
so this was
That's
all,
also a great idea.
and this is all done through my online rabbit hole of research. So basically the actual Jeep harmonic balancer has 1/4-20 holes in it.
Okay.
They're threaded in the front, I guess, for a puller or something.
Yep.
So what we did was I basically took a depth measurement to the front of the face, and it's obvious through Hadley. I got a sleeve for the bolt to go between the plate, the harmonic plate, to go to the balancer, and then I 1/4-20'd it in there, and then so the Jeep sensor reads that with the Holley off that crank, and then for the cam, I'm still using the factory cam distributor. But twice.
That's real deep.
Yeah.
That's real
and
deep Jeep nerding.
And I don't know shit about tuning. So this thing is tuning itself.
Because it's the Holley, because it does that.
Yeah, but they also recommend you should take it to a tuner.
Yeah.
So the only thing I do is I put the air fuel ratio in, what the...
Are you still running the same setup today?
Yes.
Oh, wild.
So it's still running off of that. So now I've thought about trying to find a YJ computer and harness, because like a dumbass, I sold my computer. And of course
you can pick up a shitty YJ for like $1,200. It just won't have a frame left.
I mean, I'm sure we'll do a YJ LS swap at some point. We can rip the computer out of that too.
I mean, I thought about just to keep it for backup.
Yeah.
But right now it runs fine.
Yeah.
I mean, the air fuel ratio sometimes is all over the place, but I don't really care. I mean, it runs. So when I was at Good Evening Ranch again, this is the second time I've heard this. Someone looked at the buggy and goes, "Is that a 4.0 in there?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "That's the smoothest running 4.0 I've ever heard." And I'm like, you're not the first person to ever tell me that. I'm like, he's like, really? He was like, really? I go, yeah. I said, I'm running off a Holley. He was like,
all you got to do is rip the guts out.
He was like, really? I go, yeah. And he was like, there must be something with the Holley computer, or maybe it's the electronic ignition.
Yeah.
But it just, to me, it idles smooth. But I mean, the only thing I would have to do with the tuner, maybe Kyle Wilson. You remember when we went to AOA? He had the laptop. He went in there and was like checking it over for me. He's like, "Yeah, it seems to be running right. All your parameters are good, and let me adjust this." And he'd get in there and he adjusted like the fuel ratio for a cold start, because every now and then it does still go. And I'm like, "Please start." But
is that the original short block?
Yeah, that's the original motor that was in the YJ. So when I bought the YJ, the guy claimed to me that it was a stroker. But of course, when I did a rear main seal on it and I looked at the part number on the crank, I'm like, this is not a 4.2 crank.
Yeah.
Like, you lied to me. Not that I really care, but he had pictures of the motor out. So at least I know the motor was built at some point, but I don't know why he would tell me it was a stroker.
That's weird.
But I mean, I didn't really care. It ran.
Yeah.
I don't know how many miles are on it, but I've done a valve cover gasket on it. I've done a rear main. There's no gunk in it. I'm like, okay.
Run it.
Yeah.
Send it till it doesn't send anymore.
And then eventually I want to buy. Once I get a shop or something, I kind of want to build like a 4.7 or a 4.2 stroker and put a cam in it.
Do the 5 liter 5 liter 6-cylinder.
Just hear blah 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 blah. Like, I just want hot for teacher on a fucking 4.0.
Oh yeah. I like how you're not going to LS swap it though.
No, because everybody LS swaps, and that was the whole reason why I kept the 4.0.
4BT swap.
Well, everybody does an engine swap, but
rotary.
I don't need.
Dude, I want a rotary rock crawler so fucking. It'd have to be a bouncer. It'd have to be a rotary bouncer.
But like, go back to what did Angel say? Tons and 40s to be cool.
Yeah.
You don't need a LS to be cool. I don't need all that.
It helps, but you don't need it.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to hill kill. I get enough torque out of that.
We're not rock bouncers.
I get enough torque out of that 4.0.
Yeah, it's overkill.
And even if you build a stroker, you get just even a little bit more torque, if not the same as a V8.
Yeah.
But
yes, a stock 5.3, it's like 300-ish foot-pounds of torque, which the stock 4 liter is like 220 foot-pounds of torque. Like, it's not a. I mean, 80 foot-pounds of torque is a lot.
Yeah.
But it's also not a lot.
Yeah.
So.
But then the other rabbit hole, so you keep going talking about rabbit holes. So I did a...
We love rabbit holes.
Yeah. I did a X-Rocks competition at Good Evening Ranch.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get my big booty Judy.
Are you going in June?
I might try to run again, but I'd have to find someone.
We got a buddy that I've been trying to meet up with for a long time, friend of the podcast, that's coming from Denver to go to that X-Rock competition. Josh Pat with Rocktrix Racing.
Okay.
Maybe I can talk PJ into being my spotter and I'll run again.
Hey PJ, you want to go to Moab and then literally the next weekend go to Good Evening Ranch?
It
doesn't sound like a no. Sorry, Lauren. Future PJ, duck.
So I did the X Rocks, and it's like the cones. I think I looked it up the other day just for this conversation. I think the minimum gate size is 102 inches.
Yeah.
My buggy's like 93 inches wide from outside of tire. So you're trying to put that big booty Judy without rear steer through these cones.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was kind of stressful,
Hey.
not to say, but
Run what you got. That's all you can do.
then it was also the SLRC the same weekend.
Oh.
And those guys are friggin' nuts.
Yeah.
Little Charlie, Big Charlie, my buddy Steve. They all have this is where the rabbit hole goes. They have all these little tiny little comp crawlers,
Yeah.
rear steer.
Yep.
I'm like, I want that. Now I talked to Steve. Steve's on his little comp crawler. He was trail riding with us one day. I'm like, hey, you want to? He's like, I'll hit Cripple Creek. He's like, but after that, he's like, this thing beats me to death
Oh, yeah.
because it's air shocks.
Yep.
Oh, with the comp crawler.
Yeah, I mean they flex great, whatever. You can put it wherever you want to, but yeah, they're not really meant for like full on trail riding 8 hours a day.
Well, they also have small tanks too, aren't they? Like a lot of them are like 2.5 gallon tanks.
Yeah,
Something like that.
Yeah, we're gonna do our first rock crawling competition. Is gonna be the Roush Creek RC Crawlers Club Comp. They're doing the individual competition.
Yeah.
In September 21st. I'm gonna get the XJ ready. What me and Tom are going full all in is he's gonna be the driver. I'm gonna be a spotter. Right, because that's going to be our setup. Is Tom Sylvester is going to drive. He's a better driver than I am. He's got a little more balls than I do, and I'm a pretty damn good spotter and co-dog. So
yeah.
So that's going to be our dangerous introduction into comp crawling.
So have you
and
guys-
it's going to spiral.
So have you picked up your comms yet?
We have rugged radios.
Okay.
We don't have headsets.
So I don't have comms, and a lot of these guys at the X Rock, they're running. I guess you get them on Amazon for like $80, $100. They're the same like Bluetooth receivers like motorcycle guys have.
Yeah.
And it's like instant communication back and forth.
It's crucial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have comms, and somebody else was spotting me the last day, and it was like he was yelling at me through the.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like.
Through the windshield.
I'm like,
What?
what? I can't hear you.
Yeah.
The exhaust is like.
Yeah.
yeah. So our rugged radios they're just the Bofang style.
Yeah, and I have the.
They've got the earpiece, and it's got you can just drive key up or whatever. So it's not the best, but
Yeah.
it works. But I was thinking about that. I'm like, if we're gonna get into club competition, rock crawling competition, we need to figure out comms. That way, I'm not having to holler through the windshield.
Yeah.
Do you still have a windshield in your Jeep?
No.
Okay.
No,
So yeah, at least you don't have to holler through the windshield.
The only thing Jeep in there is like a drivetrain. There's a hood and a grill
Yep.
that's been chopped down to 5 slots.
Yep.
Did you do the 5-slot chop? That felt weird to say. Did you do the 5? I can't get it right the second time. Did you do the 5-slot chop initially? Like, was that your original design, or did you do that because that's how it worked with the chassis?
That was because it had to do with the chassis, and
Yeah.
that was all a lamb chop.
Lamb chop.
Lamb chop. Yeah, we looked at it and just the way it was going to flex. Like I don't know how it would have worked with even in the YJ chassis.
Yeah.
Because just the tires were so big and I have so much up travel. I think I have like 6 inches of up travel. But the way it would have articulated, the tire was going to go into the side of the hood, which is why it's got the little swoop.
Yep.
And then to compact it all together, the grill had to get chopped down.
Yep.
That was Lamb Chop's idea.
Race car things.
Yes.
And are you a big fan of Taco Bell? Is
Yeah.
that why you went to Baja?
So originally, I think.
Because it's fucking. I mean, the color is beautiful,
Oh, I know that.
and it sticks out like a sore thumb.
And that was the whole point. Originally, I was gonna do like just your basic like black tube chassis, whatever. Just had it powder coated black, and I was like, I started thinking about it, and like I was like, one day, I think I was eating Taco Bell one day. I was like,
Thinking of the nostalgic,
yeah,
the
what is
Baja-ness.
it? The old '90s style booth.
Oh,
Booth,
oh, with the
color
the
scheme.
purple and light blue graphics.
Yep.
yeah. And I was like, drinking Baja Blast, and I was like, it just hit me. I was like, I like this. I actually like this teal color, and then I'm like, the buggy's supercharged. It's a blast, so let's just call it Baja Blast, and then that's kind of where it snowballed down from.
Because I mean,
So anyway, I
don't know if
started
I've-
Baja blasting.
I don't know if I've actually ever seen your buggy in person. I may have seen it once or twice at the Cove,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I've actually seen it in person. But every time it pops up somewhere online, I'm like, hey, I know that one.
that
And
guy.
now I can say I actually know that guy.
Yeah, and it's funny because you go to these Jeep events like the Nova Jeepers thing.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like when I first built it, Dane was like, "Hey, you should bring it over here."
Oh, yeah.
But of course, it wasn't finished yet for that one. And then last year, I think I was somewhere else when they did it.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the calendar this year, and I'm like, I could possibly do that, but then it's like I have to go an hour and a half to go get it, and another hour and a half back up.
Yeah.
It's like maybe I'll just go and say face and like wave because I haven't been to the show in China in a while. But
You can park it in our Dirt Nerds booth.
yeah, I actually I did unveil it. My unveiling.
That seems so official.
Yeah, I don't know. I just I don't know. So Scott Becker, as he used to do, Scott's Jeep Yard.
Yep.
So my quote unquote unveiling, I don't know why I keep doing air quotes. I guess I got to talk with my hands. Was at the PA Jeepers event.
Yep.
And like it wasn't even I didn't have skid plates yet. But like I had like PA friends that were up there, and like of course this is me like thinking I'm some big social media guy
Yeah.
because everybody followed me on my personal Instagram because of the build. Mm-hmm. And so I was just like, hey, I'm gonna be at PA All Breeds, like it's gonna be sitting in the booth, and it because you're talking about booth, Scott let me put it in his booth, so it was just sitting there the whole weekend. But
Got a whole bunch of people walking past.
yeah, people taking
is that?
Yeah, I had like one guy was like, "Did you wheel this thing yet?" I go, "No," and he's like, "Oh, do you want to sell it?"
How much you want to pay for it?
Yeah,
Is it still street legal?
no,
It could be.
maybe.
It's old. It's old enough. All you need
With a
is-
windshield now.
No, like
No, it doesn't need a windshield to be street legal.
Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty.
Or are you sure about that?
my
You have to
problem.
wear a helmet, so it's like the Can-Am fucking ugly T-Rexes. So you're technically supposed to wear a helmet with that.
Yeah.
It's like it is a car.
Yeah.
But since it doesn't have a windshield, you need to be wearing a helmet with a visor.
It's like the dude at Ferrari with the Monza SP2. It has like the speed
The
racer
little
windshield.
deflector.
He has to wear a helmet to drive
Yeah.
it on the road.
Yeah.
But I don't even have a VIN anymore
Yeah.
I mean, you do have a VIN.
or a title.
Oh, you got rid of the VIN and
No,
title.
yeah.
get a VIN plate.
So the guy that people keep telling me, I got an XJ in the backyard. You can have it because I thought about it for when I go to Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to drive it around. I put it in the show in China Jeep Invasion for that too. That was fun, but we God, don't ever do that again. If you're ever going to trailer to the Smoky Mountain Jeep
What a
Invasion,
nightmare.
make sure you know where your cabin is.
Oh.
That was luckily I had George with me because I have no idea how I would have got up there. I messaged the lady when I was getting the cabin. I was like, hey, can I park a car trailer there? And she's like, yeah, sure, there's space. And I'm like, okay. So we start going up this windy road, and I'm like, this is horrible, George. What did I think? And George was like, you didn't look at the road? I go, not really.
Was it Airbnb and you wouldn't let you see the road before you book it?
I can't. I think that's what it did. I think I did do it through Airbnb, but it was like one of those cabins for rent. But it's through cabins for rent website or something.
Yeah.
And so like I kind of did look at it, but like I didn't look at like topographical map, I
Yeah.
guess if you want to say. But we get to the last turn to the cabin, and my back of my trailer like bottoms out because I didn't take the turn wide enough. I had to unload the buggy to get the trailer off. Luckily, I mean we were like 40, 50 feet from the house.
Yeah.
And then it's a 28-foot trailer, so then I had minimal.
God damn.
Yeah, so I had minimal room to like go forward and back the trailer up into the whatever little driveway it was. But I would say that was definitely a fun adventure.
Hey, it's always a fun adventure when something goes wrong unexpectedly.
Yeah.
Well, that whole Smoky Mountain area, was it Pigeon Forge?
Yeah.
I've heard nightmares about events up there and just how bad the traffic is. I couldn't imagine how bringing a trailer up there.
Did you see pictures of the rod run this year?
Rod run?
Like hot rods?
Yeah, so they do it. They call it rod run, and they do just like the Jeep Invasion. And even when I go there for Jeep Invasion, I'm like, I would hate to live in this town.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
because you'd be late for work.
Yeah.
Because the pictures from Rod Run were just basically red taillights to taillights between traffic lights, because all it is a strip that goes from Gatlinburg all the way through. So if you want to go to downtown Gatlin, I guess there probably is a back highway, but the main drag the main street goes through Pigeon Forge right into
Yep.
Gatlinburg.
That's like
Just jammed in
Jeep
traffic
Beach.
all
Yeah.
the time. And they do so many events there for different automotive segments year
Oh, yeah.
round.
Yeah.
Like it's always packed with
That's
people.
yeah.
it's like Jeep Beach, but not on the beach.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's prettier.
and that's why I say Pigeon Forge is a beach town without the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mountains or beach.
Yeah,
Mountains and beach.
and there's a Buc-ee's not far away.
We still have not been to a Buc-ee's.
I
Oh,
haven't.
we'll hit a Bussie's on the way.
I haven't.
On the way. Get you a piece of this Bussy boy.
Have you seen that guy on Instagram? He does that.
Yeah.
We're at
Caleb?
Buc-ee's. We're at Buc-ee's again.
Oh, well, I will find a Bussie's on the way out to Moab.
I think we stopped to get gas at a Buc-ee's. That's a high bussy.
I have a Bussy.
But
Yeah, it's Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion is on my list. I'm just so adverse to crowds now. Like I haven't been to a Jeep event in a year. Like a true, I guess 24 hours counts.
Yeah.
But it
Was-
wasn't the crowds, it wasn't the chaos. Like
Yeah.
like it was quick in and out. You only saw people at the beginning and end.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty much it.
But like if I'm going wheeling, I don't want to be surrounded by people. And I know like with the show and like with your brand and our brand too, like
You gotta
it's kind of
have a
necessary.
social presence
It's
there,
kind of
bud.
necessary for the social presence, but
Yeah.
it's just so annoying sometimes.
yeah, so this year I actually got a cabin at Windrock
Okay.
because last year we went. Me and George, we always get a hotel, but then, the year before we did the cabin. But I'm like, the second year I was like, all right, I'm paying for trailer parking, and then we'll just get a hotel. It was
Yeah.
$200 for trailer parking,
It's fucking
Yep.
obnoxious.
and
For
Windrock.
what, 2 nights? 3 nights?
Yeah, so that was we go in Wednesday, so it's Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday,
Okay.
Saturday. When we left Saturday to go to Windrock, but this year I'm staying at Windrock because, the $1,400 whatever it is for 1-bedroom condo
Yeah.
or cabin, I've got trailer parking.
Was that
yeah.
is Smoky Mountain in Windrock? Is that North Carolina or Tennessee?
Oh, that's Tennessee.
Both of them are Tennessee.
Yeah.
Are UTVs street legal? Can you have a street legal UTV in Tennessee?
I think it depends on what area because I looked into that too.
Yeah,
The
it's kinda like West
OHV
Virginia.
laws,
Yeah.
like you have to stay off highways
Yeah.
and like you can't go on the freeways.
Well, West Virginia, you can actually have a UTV legally registered and use it on
Yeah.
the highway.
Yeah.
You can't keep. I don't think you can go on like interstates, but
Yeah.
like
That's what I said. Like, there's
North
certain-
Carolina's the same way. You can have a street legal UTV. I just don't think you can go on like interstate highways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too is the whole strip at Pigeon Forge is technically a highway. So that was my whole thing about. I was so sketched out to drive it on the highway. Like I've got brake lights and arms for turn signals and headlights, but I'm like I'm not going to chance it to go down to the Quaker, especially if I'm going to go down there and have like a beer or two and eat some chicken wings.
Hell yeah, brother.
Like I'm not.
Talk to me.
Turning left.
Talk to me about a good time. Beer and chicken wings.
Yeah.
Beer,
So
chicken
that's-
wings, and rock rollers.
So that's where I guess they do the kickoff party is at a Hard Rock, and then every Friday night and Saturday night they do an after party. It's at the Quaker Steak and Lube, and there's a Fridays next.
What?
There's a
steak
Friday.
and lube.
What was that?
You've never heard of a Quaker Steak and Lube?
No.
There used to be one in Fredericksburg not too long ago, like a couple years ago.
What is that?
It's Quaker Steak and Lube, or It's Quaker Steak, so it's like a garage themed, NASCAR themed chicken wing burger restaurant.
What?
Yes,
NASCAR.
your Crocs would.
Daggone.
Would
So,
fit in.
like,
So does it
yeah.
mean you can only walk left?
Oh, sorry. I need to put
So
it in.
you're gonna have to
Sport
Google
mode.
it, but you walk into this restaurant
Sport
and
mode. Did you see the wing?
Fucking spoiler.
you walk into this restaurant and they've got cars on. They've got a car on an auto lift. They've got motorcycles hanging from the ceiling.
That's pretty cool.
And they used to do. They don't do it anymore, but they did a beer tower, and instead of pictures, you get a beer tower.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
The
there
wing-
it is.
the wing-
Quaker Steak and Lube.
The wings are fantastic, but so they do the after parties down there, and everybody, it's mainly Smoky Mountain is all mall crawlers, which
Yeah. That's another reason I avoid it.
yeah, and there's some cool guys that I've met like Chris and this guy Dennis.
Oh yes, I actually saw that in Fredericksburg before it. I guess after it was closed, I've seen
Yeah.
it.
But they do. There's like a whole party down there, and like sometimes there's a DJ, and they'll sell beers, and everybody just walks around and looks at each other's Jeeps, and just it's kind of like a social thing.
Yeah.
And of course, there's always those couple guys that park their Jeeps. Rockzilla TJ is one of them on Instagram. They park their Jeep up on the brick wall, and
There's a restaurant?
no. So down in the parking lot, there's like a retaining wall that lines
okay.
because it's down low on the riverside, and that's actually flooded a couple times during the rains. But they all park up on that retaining wall.
Yeah.
And this guy Rockzilla TJ did it last year, and so he does it, and a cop comes over.
Oh no. And
she's like, you can't da 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 da, and he's like, I do this every year. They let me do it, yada yada. Well, at that time, if you actually look it up, he's on his page. There's a video clip somebody posted, and my buddy Chris Kreiner, overburdened JK, is getting ready to come back his up to the wall, and I'm guiding him, spotting him in, and the cop comes running over, and you can literally see me look at the cop and run away, and he's
Run
like,
away!
Yeah, and that was funny because I was talking about a Good Evening Ranch the other weekend, and he was like, yeah, you son of a bitch, you just like left. I was like, hey, I saw a cop, I wasn't dealing with it.
I'm out.
I'm out, dude. But yeah, this Rockzilla TJ, he's got like Rockwell axles,
fucking wild.
neon green, like it's non-mall crawlerish than what's normally there. But it's a cool time to hang out. Yeah. I mean, that's the reason why I go there. It's for the people and the after party. So that's like I figure this year, I just hit after party up and then like do the restaurants, go to the show one day because once you've been there like 3-4 years, the show's kind of like the same thing over and over again, but it's been getting bigger, Yeah,
and I know it's good networking, like, and that's one thing we need is more networking, meeting more people in the industry. It's just the crowds. That's why we did SEMA 2 years ago. We did SEMA. It's why I will go to SEMA, but only for the actual industry days. When they open up to the crowds, I'm out.
Yeah.
But when it's gonna get flooded with Joe and John from down the street that have a fucking riced out Civic that are just here to see the drifting, like, and it's the same thing for me for events like that. It's like if there's fucking ducks on the dashboard, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
But I understand we have to.
Yeah, I had a bunch. So when I did the show and shine the one year, like I came back. I only did the show and shine just for VIP parking because it does get crowded down there. And there's people that park on the sidewalk and they say don't park on the sidewalk, whatever, but they do it every year. But I come back and there's like a couple ducks on the buggy and I'm like, what is this?
Hey, as long as they're not putting them in my Jeep, we're good.
Hey, I mean,
because I've had that happen before.
I'm not with your doors closed?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I had half doors, but at the same time, don't reach into someone's fucking car.
Well, what if they just threw it through the half door?
No, dude, it was like in my dash, like under the mirror.
Dude, I had my CJ7 in high school, and I came out of school one day, and there was someone I didn't know sitting in my driver's seat. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Dude, and then later that year, I drove to, it was maybe before that. It was before that. I drove to school with the doors off, and it was Stonebridge High School, and I parked on the top of the hill because that was my assigned spot. So I think someone got in it and threw it, like, was just because it was standard, messing with the shifter, threw it out of gear, it rolled downhill and ended up on a curb. It luckily didn't hit anything.
Yeah.
But dude, I fucking hate that. Someone reaching in your Jeep, someone getting in your Jeep. I holler. My wife doesn't like it. I'll look, if I know someone's messing with a Jeep that's not theirs and has the doors off of it, I will fucking holler at them.
Yeah. I mean, that's why, like,
I hate it.
Like, with every Jeep I've owned that actually drove on the road, I never kept anything of value.
No.
Just put a note on there. Hey, don't cut my top. There's nothing in here worth value.
Or you just be a real man and don't drive it with the top on.
Hell
Just
yeah,
don't have a top.
Or hard top. No top or hard top.
I think I've only had one thing stolen out of my Jeep.
Your
Since
pride?
I've had it. Well,
yeah.
No, I when I lived with my parents when we were in Round Hill. I was still in high school when I got that LJ, and it was one of those nights where I like took the doors off, parked it, out front of the house, and it's a quiet neighborhood. Like, I don't know if you've been to Round Hill. It's quiet there.
Yeah,
like nothing goes on in Round Hill.
It's
really.
in the middle of nowhere.
I walk out one morning after I drove it with the doors off, and I had that little cigarette, charger plug that you put in there to, charge all
like
your
a
accessories.
USB thing?
Not really, but it was like one of the big ones that, added like 3 extra plugs that you could use to, plug and charge all your stuff.
nonsense.
Yeah.
It was gone. I was like, motherfuckers. Like nobody really lives in that neighborhood other than older people with young kids. So it was like, I guarantee you, it was some kid just walking through the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Saw the little blue light in the dash and was like, "Ooh, that looks nice."
Shiny. It's
Yeah.
mine now.
And he never even had a car to even know what to plug it into.
Yeah.
And I was like,
what
"Well,
else?
cool. I can't trust my neighborhood anymore."
What else you got going on? Anything interesting coming up?
I'm actually headed back to Good Evening Ranch on
Damn it.
the ninth.
I know. I want to go so bad.
The 19th. So I'm playing hooky from work, and I'm linking up with somebody. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it or not, but just a friend of mine said he was going, and it was like a Monday or something, and I know he's never been there, and I've been trying to get him to come to that park for a while, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going," and I'm like, "I'm gonna see if I can take off work."
Yeah, but then if you're going to X Rock too, that's also Good Evening Ranch in June.
Yeah,
That's a lot. That's a lot of Good Evening Ranch.
yeah. So,
That's why you got the new
I
truck.
mean, oh no.
well, yeah,
oh no.
yeah. So no, Good Evening Ranch for me is probably by far one of my favorite East Coast places to wheel.
Yeah, we definitely need to go.
We do.
I mean, like I like Roush, I like AOA, but I don't. They're too expensive.
Yeah.
And in the Cove, I just, I just don't really go to the events at the Cove anymore because, no offense to her, she's doing her great thing, and I'm sure it's insurance purposes, but I don't want to do a mandatory ride,
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially a place that I somewhat know. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say for all the people that have been going there for
Yeah.
years, like,
Yeah. Yeah, I've preached it to death. That's kind of why I've let my Cherokee sit for it's a year now. My Cherokee's been sitting
yeah,
because these off-road parks are so like no matter where you're going,
Yeah.
they're so fucking expensive. And then I've got a trailer there because my Cherokee's a piece of shit. So I've got to pay for fuel and a tow rig, and I've got to figure out I don't have a truck anymore. So I've got to either borrow my dad's truck or call PJ or
Yeah.
call Trevor or Tom, and like I just been doing the National Forest thing just because it's so much more affordable.
isn't jeeping fun?
It's so fun. Buy this piece of shit that you can't drive on the roads
Yeah.
and need another truck for it. But yeah, that truck is nice. Is that why you got the new power stroke?
it's the 7.3 Godzilla.
Oh hell yeah, brother.
Yeah.
But is that why you got it because you're just doing so much shit now?
Well,
And the 6 liter was
I wouldn't say
was old?
doing so much shit.
You just had to pony up and get a new truck.
Yeah, I talked to Hadley, and he goes, you better been off financially to buy that truck before
yeah.
you left. Because when I got back, like literally, so we came back.
Oh, you and Abe?
So my girlfriend flew out there and met me out there. So me and her drove back, and Abe was like, Abe was leaving like a day later or something like that. Like he
Yeah.
had to stick around, and I literally left like Sunday morning or Monday morning. Mm-hmm. And we got back like Wednesday. I was leaving when I started my truck up to go to work on Thursday. I heard a noise. I'm like, so I had put the mechanical fan clutch in from a 7.3, like I did that swap and all that, and I'm like, that fan's a little loud today. Oh no! I start driving home from work, and I'm like, that's not the fan. My turbo blew up.
Oh no!
Oh fuck! So there's more to that story than just the tires and Abe shit. Is when you got home, it got worse.
Oh yeah. Well, on the way, so the whole tire thing and everything else. On the way back, we get to Arkansas, and it's like,
Fuck that state.
yeah.
It's always an arc.
So yeah, I'm gonna backtrack to.
You're good. You're good.
So, I don't know if I should. So my trailer got fucked up.
We shit on Arkansas so much.
So leaving Trail Hero, my trailer got fucked up.
Leaving Trail Hero.
Yeah. So there was the way I came in, people were like, "Oh, I'm not going back into the camp spot, leaving that way because I almost got stuck." So I'm already like, "All right, whatever. I'm going to go this way." And going that way was around a canopy,
yes.
like a pavilion canopy thing. So I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can easily get through that. I'll just swing it wide. There's kind of a road, and I can get around the point because there was a guy camping to the just outside the canopy." So I get up that morning, I fire the truck up, whatever, everything's loaded. I'm situated to point in that direction. And I start going there, and I'm trying to swing it wide, and I look, there's a freaking Subaru parked right next to the dune because his buddy's up on the dune.
Uh-oh.
Yet there's a parking lot.
Nah.
Fucking Subarus, man.
Yeah.
Subarus are the worst.
Yet there's a parking lot. So I'm like, I told the girlfriend, I was like, get out and just make sure I don't hit this car with the back of my trailer because I'm already worried about this guy. Now I'm worried about this guy sleeping in a tent on his trailer underneath the canopy. So I take the turn, and there's a dune right there. And I'm all right at that point where I realize I'm like, either I'm gunning it or I have to wait for my buddies to wake up, because I'm at this point where I'm cocked because of this car's here, that it's going to be a pain in the ass for me to try to back out of that situation.
Yeah.
So I see the sand dune, and I'm like, all right, I'm gunning it. And like, I hit the sand dune and I gunned it. And next thing I hear, and I'm like, I'm thinking I'm dragging the back of my trailer on the sand dune. The girlfriend, I said, hey, am I, beforehand, I was like, am I good left and right? She's like, yeah, you're good in the back. She doesn't think to look up. I sardine canned the whole top side of my trailer.
Oh, you have an enclosed trailer?
Yeah.
Okay. Fuck.
So that was an incident of, I was like, shit, I'm like kicking myself already. Like I'm a dumbass. Like it's trailer tires. now it's a freaking trailer. You would have thought I never trailered before in my life. So, we make it back, and I get somewhere to, we get to Arkansas, and I'm looking, and I'm like, my front hood's like flapping up and down. I hit a bump. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So finally I'm like looking, and I forget to check when I get gas in Oklahoma. And I start looking again, and I'm like, pull off the side of the road. The latch, there's 2 bolts that go in to hold the latch. So one of the nuts fell off, and the other one was getting loose, and it was moving the latch up and down to the
truck
on my truck.
Jesus Christ!
So I tightened the nuts, and so anyway, we get almost to the Memphis border, the bridge. And I'm like, all right, it's only like 4:30 here, like whatever, like 6 o'clock. Like I don't feel like sitting around for 4 hours and then sleeping.
Yeah.
Like let's just keep driving. I'm good. And
Memphis is my favorite. You have the Redneck Egypt.
Yeah. So I
It's a federal.
So I look over, and I was like, the girlfriend said something, and I was like, yeah, that's the Arkansas Welcome Center where I spent the first night. And next thing I hear go, ah! And I look back driving, and I go, what? And then next thing I know, I go, bloom, bloom, bloom. And I go, what the hell did I just hit? And instantly my driver's tire went flat on the front. And I look over I turn my turn signal on, I look over, and there's a cop back there, and I just see him back off to let me over. But he keeps driving. I'm thinking, you would think that someone you would pull up behind them and make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
Well, apparently the semi truck that was on I was in the far left lane. In the middle lane, apparently he picked up some kind of concrete patch and with his rear tire, and it flung at my truck. She said it was like, what's that movie?
Destination.
Final Destination. And I'm like, huh? And so within the split second of me looking over at the thing to look back to the road, this truck had picked this chunk of brick up and threw it at my truck, and my truck just hit it perfectly. It bent the inside of my wheel, and my tire went flat completely. Oh. So I literally...
tire was still intact.
I think I did see the picture of that.
Yeah.
The tire didn't get cut. It just bent the inside of the wheel.
It just bent the inside lip of the wheel.
I don't know if that's better or worse than cutting a tire. Because at least you don't have to buy a tire, but you have to buy a wheel now.
Well, I actually found a place in Chantilly that actually resurfaces,
nice.
They were able to get the bend out without breaking the aluminum. But here I am putting a spare underneath my truck, and the spare was from 2006. So how I
we had a conversation about old tires earlier.
Yeah. So how I made it back home, I have no idea.
That's a miracle.
Yeah. And then I think it was Tennessee's when it happened. Maybe it was before Tennessee. But I remember Abe was telling you about my alternator.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this issue was all just me in my head from long driving, like watching my voltmeter. It's like, this isn't right, blah, blah, blah. So, I put the alternator on. Well, I go to pick her up from the airport, and when I was in Utah, and my battery light came on in the morning, I was like, oh, maybe my batteries are bad. So, because it would go off. So I had after that, no battery light. We start driving back after this incident. My battery light starts coming on and off. I'm like, what the hell? So I pulled off somewhere in the middle of Tennessee. I think, I might be wrong. It was probably Arkansas when this happened. I can't remember. It was so much of a mess coming home.
Fuck Arkansas.
Yeah. Needless to say, I pull over. I get 4. I had the guy gave me 4 batteries, or 2, not 4, 2 batteries for the truck. And I'm like, all right, we should be good. And all of a sudden, my battery light comes back on again.
Oh.
I'm like, what the hell is going on? Luckily, I kept the old alternator because it was so late at night that they wouldn't return it. Mm-hmm. I put my old alternator back on, and I was fine.
Jesus Christ.
Because, and I just started laughing at myself because with AutoZone, I had already put an alternator on it like a year ago prior, but it took me 3 alternators to get one that would actually charge.
Yeah.
So needless to say so I got home, the turbo blew up.
That's an expensive trip.
Yeah. So I ordered a KC turbo. Of course, I'm like, hey, if I'm going to do this, I'm doing it right. So I ordered the KC Turbo Hellfire Stage 1 or whatever. I'm like, this thing's freaking awesome, whatever. Truck's running great. Fix it, blah, blah. I take it over to Undisputed to get the fluids changed.
Yeah.
You know how that is. Expensive, whatever. And it's like, hey, you should change your coolant. It's dirty. Well, the next day or a couple of days later, look at my coolant. It's got like a black line across it. And I'm like, that's probably the oil cooler taking a shit again. And I already put one in it, and I'm like, I'm not doing it myself, and it's probably going to cost me $3,000 to have it done. I'm like, this motor's got 70-something thousand miles on it. I'm like, I'm done though. I'm just every time I turned around, oil changes,
that's how the
oil
diesels
filters,
work, man. It just fucking keeps going.
and finally, I was like, this truck is a 2006.
Yeah.
Like next, I have to do the body cab mounts on it. I'm like,
Yep.
I don't want to do it.
Like it's
time to upgrade.
It's worth it if you're pulling all the time to own a diesel
Oh, yeah.
because
Yeah.
of the fuel mileage.
Exactly.
But everything else doesn't justify it.
And
that's pulling all the time is like, I mean, you're doing it right now. It's fucking every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If you're pulling 6 hours one way every 2 weeks,
yeah.
you can kind of justify
It's
it.
also different if you're like embedded in the diesel world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you know how to work on it, if you know it
Yeah.
intimately. But
I mean,
fuck,
again, I
man.
can turn a wrench, but it's just like,
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
I mean, yeah, I like I said, I did the oil cooler and that thing. That's like, that is not a driveway job I really
No.
want to do.
Yeah.
Again,
There's not much on a diesel that's really a driveway job.
no.
I found.
I did my injectors in Brian's
Yeah.
driveway. It was a fucking nightmare.
And I think the other thing that fueled it for me too was when Abe got stuck because of a freaking O-ring down in the bottom of the motor. on
Yeah.
that
God.
That story
With not
is
building,
wild.
and that's what freaked me out because I'm sitting there going,
What else don't I know about this?
I'm waiting. I mean, I know it was a brand new motor that I put in, but
So is his.
Yeah, but even not that. He only had 18,000 miles on his.
Yeah.
But even then, that thinking of an oil ring just because going bad, like whether it's a year or 2 years away, I'm like,
Yeah.
and for me, I can't really justify it because I drive 10 minutes to work.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I'm lucky. So it's like my diesel never got that warm enough to circulate anything. So to me, it was like, like, is it really justifiable? Because at the time, I'm really still technically maybe pulling once a month. Like
Yeah.
I might go out, next weekend or whatever, but I might not go out in June.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I try to wheel as much as I can, but at the same time, it's like reliability to me. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to bite the bullet and I'll go gas this time because all the new diesels, I don't want to deal with the deletion and I don't, or even putting DPF, it's like,
And doing the deletion and getting caught by someone and having to pay that fucking
because
ridiculous
they're
fine.
they're cracking down hard now
Yeah.
because I went to get a state inspection on the 6.0 and me playing stupid, the guy was like, I have to fail you because you don't have a catalytic converter. I'm like, what? I've had this truck inspected how many times since I've owned it and was straight piped. Now all of a sudden I'm getting screwed.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was another turning point for when I was initially looking at trucks where I wanted a diesel because I knew we were going to start, doing these long road trips and going to all these off-road events and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was like, the diesel world is just in such dismay.
Well, and
It's ridiculous.
The gas trucks are making so much power now.
Well, yeah.
You still suffer with fuel mileage, but they're making so much power that you can't not
Yeah. You
consider it.
Yeah.
With the diesels, you have to jump through so many fucking hoops these days just to stay legal. It's not worth
Chevy
it
Chevy
anymore.
has the new 6.6
Ugh.
6.6 gas engine.
Yeah.
It's the 6.6 and it makes fucking stupid power for a gas engine.
So here's something I'd have to ask about. I don't know if you would know or not. I was flipping through Instagram reels one day,
Yeah.
and the guy goes, "It's coming, fellas," and it's him sitting at some dealership, filming his online training.
Oh, yeah. I
And
think you
it's-
sent it to me.
and it's a GPF.
Yep.
So now they want to put GPFs, which I guess gasoline particle filter.
Oh, dude,
It's like
instead of a DPF.
for gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
When
I'm like,
when they're running cleaner and more efficient than ever. now, currently, and they still want to fucking filter it more, just so you have to pay more money to have it serviced. We talked about it.
Let's not find a reliable fuel source yet.
Yeah.
So not to flex, but me and Tom talked about it on last week's episode with Dave Cole and Senator Maynard is
Weird flex.
Weird flex, but okay. We talked about it, how they want the dealerships are doing this, the OEMs are doing this so that we can't service our vehicles anymore. It'll be they're trying to make, what the fuck is flying around my god, all these goddamn bugs today.
Fruit flies.
They're doing it, and they're going to try and make it illegal for us to fix our own shit.
Yeah.
Just like John Deere. And the planned obsolescence of it too is shit. It's going to cost me, I don't know what the diesels cost, $4,000 to change out my DPF filter or whatever the fuck.
Stupid.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with your gas truck. It makes more sense for me to just buy a new vehicle rather than fix this one.
Yeah.
And then you're buying a new vehicle because that's what the dealership planned for you to do.
California was trying to do that with all the EV vehicles. That was like,
it makes me
you can
fucking
either
sick.
get an EV or not have a car, or you get shipped out of California. Like, yeah,
it's the worst. Oh, I had another question for you, and I can't remember it now because I got fucking political.
Yeah, we're turning into a conspiracy podcast now.
I wish there were conspiracies, but they're not.
Conspiracy with the automotive.
What else?
What other big trips have you been on? You said
that
you wanted
was
to
my
do
question.
24 hours, right?
Yeah.
Did you actually do 24 hours?
No, I haven't even been invited.
Oh, I thought
Come
you
on,
were wheeling
Marvin.
with him.
Well, yeah, so I don't know how far he's going to take the hell and back.
I feel like
He's going to take it to hell and back.
Yeah.
I feel like they've got a good couple of years left.
Yeah.
Before it just
It's a good event.
Yeah. I definitely enjoy all his content. Like, he's one of my favorites to watch. But no, I just have never been invited because the last one, so obviously this one is West Coast.
You get it?
Yep.
From last year, and I think this year he wants to do East Coast.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the Ultimate Adventure. They alternate.
Yeah, so I think that's what he's been trying to do.
He should do an Alaska
good, though.
one. That'd be fucking dope.
And I
to
think
do an Alaska
he
one.
is. I've watched a couple of his live streams, and people are like Alaska, and he's like, it's on the list, but I don't know when he.
Yeah.
It's the logistics of it too, because not only does he have to host the event, he's also got to put in all the legwork to prep for it. So flying up to Alaska for 3 weeks to run all these trails, figure out what you're doing is a nightmare. And it's not like Motor Trend or what was it, Peterson's 4x4 and Off-Road Magazine when they were doing, or who does the Ultimate Adventure where they can pay someone to go.
They got a full blown magazine.
Yeah, they got a magazine team that can do the R&D for the event.
Yeah.
Marvin doesn't have.
They've got a full
staff
support system that's been implemented like since the magazine started.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying is they can do the R&D.
Yeah.
Marvin has to go do the R&D himself for these events.
I'm sure he's working up to that though.
Like trying to find the trail, because that's the thing too. Is like, what do we really have that compares to West Coast?
I wish there was more in Virginia.
I mean, because not just Virginia, but like any state. Yeah, you have the Mammoth, but how long is someone going to want to watch the Mammoth Trail?
Yeah.
Let me tell you what, fucking West Virginia has some cool shit coming.
Yeah,
West Virginia has some unbelievable stuff coming.
That would be awesome because it's not that far away.
It's not that far away. It's 6 hours from 80% of the population of the United States.
I mean, like I did talk to one guy that Gatekeeper Off-Road Joe. What he does now part time is he has his YouTube channel, but he also does like a guide service. And in his brain, because he's been cutting trails up at FOAA.
Okay,
but I have never, I don't know, I haven't been there yet. I don't know if
neither have we.
But he was telling me he's thinking that Pennsylvania is going to be the East Coast mecca because there's a bunch of old coal mine trails up there, and West Virginia obviously the same.
Yeah.
Well, so they did the Ultra 4 race at Famous Reading last year.
Yeah,
and that was fantastic. That was such a good event. But then with all the craziness that just happened with Ultra 4 is that was one of the races that was cut, and that was going to be. So for Ultra 4, they have an East Coast series, a West Coast series, and they have a national series.
Yep.
So the Famous Reading event this year was supposed to be part of the national series. You got double points for attending it and racing there because it was that good of an event last year. But it got cut because I don't know, whatever cutbacks they did. I don't know. But
yeah.
I've been wanting to go to an Ultra 4 race, like especially like Teardown in Tennessee. Or, Yeah, because like I talked to Sergio from Warren one time, and I was like, he's like, hey man, if you want to come out, just hit me up. He's like, you can camp next to us as long as you help me in the pits. I'm like, okay.
You're telling me I get to work on race cars and camp for free?
Just those few trips that I went with Angel and Lamb Chop to do to shoot media. Jesus Christ, dude!
It's so cool.
Having those fucking LS buggies just fucking ripping past you like this far away from you, and just the rumble like in your chest. You're like, yes,
Hell yeah, brother.
this is why we do it.
Was your trip across country with Abe your first cross country trip?
Yeah. The furthest I've...
It's setting a good standard for the fuckery.
Yeah. First...
God damn it. I'm a fucking mess today.
Yeah. So it was the first cross country and the first like furthest trip I've ever trailered.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
All around to go on a cross country trip with Abe Wine. To trail hero.
Not to flex.
Yeah, not to flex. Yeah.
But cool.
Trail Hero was definitely awesome, and I'm probably not going to make it this year, but definitely next year, probably 2025.
We've been trying to go to that too. Abe's been trying to get me to come along as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Where can people? I mean, you got 1,000 social medias. Where can people? I think you only got 2.
Well, yeah. I have personal Instagrams, 5-Slot Hooligan, which I've actually made private recently because I'm just tired of all the Instagram porn bots.
Dude,
but
it's so annoying.
Dude, and it's like, hey, and I'm like,
is Twin Stick? Is that a business account too?
Yes. So,
dude, there's so much fucking porn that gets sent to you on the fucking business accounts.
Ridiculous.
It's obnoxious.
Yeah, like that's the thing too. Is like I actually like. I'm sure everybody else does it, like all the Instagram people and YouTube people. It says like so and so followed you, and I go to their page. I'm like, you're not a real person.
Yeah, 0 posts and like 100 followers,
or your pictures,
and they're all fake profiles.
Yeah, or your pictures look fake. Yeah.
See, I won't block them. I'll restrict them so I retain the follower, but they can't see any of my shit.
Well,
just for the numbers.
Instagram now actually has a thing where you can somewhere in your followers they actually have potential spam.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you can delete all of them and actually keep your numbers true.
That's good.
But yeah, so Twin Stick Crawlers on Instagram, twinstickcrawlers.com for all your stickers and merch, and then the YouTube channel, Twin Stick Crawlers.
It's good shit.
Yeah.
It's a good YouTube channel. Check it out.
Yeah. I've recently, I was watching a lot of YouTube for a while, and I've kind of recently fallen out of it, but I need to get back into it because I pay $14.99 a month, so I don't get ads on it.
Yeah, so I don't pay for that, but obviously I don't watch cable, so like it's either for me it's either a YouTube, Amazon, or Netflix.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Cleater. Cleater has some good stuff. He just bought that airport, and I'm like, dude, you're doing motorsports and you have an airport now. What the fuck are you doing? It's so wild.
Yeah.
PJ, where can people find you?
The Jeep Guy 602, all underscores.
Nice.
PJ Pomada Photography. Yeah, I don't really have a website, so
DirtNerdsOffroad.com is your website.
DirtNerdsOffroad.com.
You guys know where to find us. DirtNerdsOffroad.com, the Dirt Drive, everywhere social. I know it's been a while since I've said it. If you guys like, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts, I'll send you stickers. I just mailed out 3 sticker packs this week. I'm going to keep mailing stickers, and when I need more stickers, I'm buying them to give them away.
I should have brought a sticker for the podcast case.
Dude, I've got
here.
all my stickers with me.
The fuck?
Oh, I have your sticker.
No, he's talking about my stickers.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, PJ
gave
like,
it to me.
PJ's like one of our big supporters.
Hell yeah.
He shout out PJ.
But Tommy, thank you for being on. Thanks for thanks for being cool and
thanks for having me.
Thanks for doing cool shit.
Yeah, thanks for doing cool shit.
I'm glad you guys wanted to talk to me. I'm very humbled. Thank you.
You're one of the guys on the East Coast that's doing fucking cool things on the East Coast for East Coast motorsports and wheeling.
I'm
for
trying
East Coast
to.
by East Coast.
Hell yeah.
I'm trying to.
But thanks, man. We're out. Bye.
Deuces.
Deuces.
Keep it locked and in low.